What's going on, everybody? I want to warn people I am going to be going on a hard rant in this stream. There's a lot of information, a lot of factual data now to prove everything. Not only that we've been talking about, but you guys, like, one of the things I said forever is no matter what, obligations do not go away. And we're finding them all. So we're going to get into a whole bunch of stuff here. I'm going to go over the Moass first, go over all these meme stock plays, the stock market in general. Lot to show you guys here. We're learning some stuff from the Epstein files, the emails, a whole bunch of stuff. So we'll get into that in a second here. Let some people jump in. Give me about 1 second here. Alrighty, waited long enough. I don't think many people more are going to jump in, so let's just get started here. But I do want to talk about a lot of things here. So let's talk about the play. Let's talk about everything that we've been going over with the market. Everybody thinking these guys are getting away with everything. So one of the Epstein emails here that came out that was pretty interesting is he's talking to another person who he's doing stock market trades with, and talks about it in another company. But everybody talks about how naked shorts, they're not existent and everything. But if you actually read this email here, so Jeffrey and this guy actually lost money on a stock play. So he's apologizing to Jeffrey Epstein. And he goes, sorry it didn't work out. Beknownst to me over the last 2 to 3 years, there's been a prolific of naked shorting of he says micro crap, but it's micro cap stocks in Spain and Germany. This is illegal as hell. If a company is bleeding, it's a no-brainer to short it into oblivion from 3 to 2 to 1 pennies. They have to hyper dilute now when they raise capital. This is exactly what they have been doing to AMC, as we've all went over. So one of the things I told everybody is, you guys, we gotta direct route our trades. You have to direct route your trades. If you're an itty meme stock, if you are retail and you actually want to count, as you guys see with every day, they're still posting on AMC. Nobody can figure out why is it still going down. Every day it's still 75, 80% off exchange. So they can control the price 100%. Unless you guys, like I said, direct route your shares. Now, again, these guys are naked shorting it. They're direct routing it. They're giving out IOUs, like I said, with Market Maker Rule 203B. They're filling it in the CNS program. They're creating shares, IOUs, artificially inflating the float. But as you guys can see, they tell us naked shorting and this does not exist when it does. It does everywhere. The United States stock market is considered pretty much the most corrupt stock market now. If you guys didn't see, it was like a week ago, a couple days ago, we're now considered an insanely corrupt country. Our corruption rating went way up. It went way up. Obviously, it has to do a lot with the way they're handling these files, but it went way up. Now, one of the things I said when we started with all of this, I was like, you guys, you need to direct route your trades, and you need to affect banks. Think about this logically. Is Citadel, if how they make money is they take your trade. So what do? If you direct route your trade, that means Citadel's not making money. So one, you're making it so your opponent no longer makes money off you. Number two, you're now making your trade actually affect price instead of letting him go off exchange with it. And then again, you have to look at it again logically. So, okay, if I take it out of his hands, who's supporting him? Banks. All these banks have been writing ISDA contracts, like I showed you. Now, it's worse than I thought, you guys. It's way worse than I thought. Sorry, my phone rang. So it's way worse than I thought. I want you guys to read this. So, back in the day, we told you guys, They're doing this in swaps. And today, the reason I'm bringing this up is they just passed a rule. They extended a rule that was passed because of these trillions of dollars. So there was trillions and trillions of dollars in 2015. Okay? And all of that back in the banks. If you guys read this, it says we're voting on transparency, and what they're voting on is this rule that they just went ahead and pushed off. Again, to 2029. So this has been being pushed off for going on, going to be 14 years. 14 years. Now, if you look at what it says, I'm not going to get all into the ruling and everything. It's just about, transparency more and all this stuff. But this is what I want you guys to read. All this highlighted stuff. It says, so when they went ahead and they did an audit on all of these banks, that says what they do know that scares them is that our largest banks and financial firms had taken on massive positions. Many of these which have gone bad. And they're talking about their ability to absorb these losses is razor thin. They were caught in a web of interconnectedness. Now, this is what I've been talking about with you guys. The interconnectedness is ISDA contracts. Here's the problem with ISDA contracts. There's no third party that's overseeing them. One party can take out an ISDA contract with another member. The guy who's writing the ISDA contract, he confirms the collaterals there. He does that. That's how that Wong and that family office blew everybody up. Because each bank was like, yep, he's got it, but they didn't truly check to see if he had it. So then when he blew up, all 10 banks of those blew up, and that's what happened with that family office before. So when you read this, it says, they were caught in a web of interconnectedness where trillions of dollars, yes, trillions with the T, it says, in gross swap liabilities, left them vulnerable. So those have been going on and on and on. Today they decided that if they went ahead and let those records be known to everybody, guess what? It would collapse the financial system. So this is my point. All of these records that, like, everybody's like, oh man, they got rid of it. We'll never be able to do it. They'll never have these obligations. Those obligations are still there. They're just in ISDA. They're just pushed off, and now they got all these new rules and all this shit, and that's why I told you guys, okay, if they want to push all this into ISDA, let's fuck up ISDA. How do you do that? You do bank runs. You do runs on the banks. Now, all of a sudden, these ISDA contracts are fucked up. And now these banks don't have collateral. They don't have your deposits. They can't keep taking on more loans. They can't keep writing more contracts. Now, because they're able to keep writing contracts, look at this. This is nuts. This is unreal. FINRA margin debt. Now, when I say FINRA margin debt, and when people hear margin debt, they always think of just retail. This is not retail margin debt. Margin debt has reached a total of 1.23 trillion. 1.23 trillion. So if you guys notice, right after we started attacking them, margin debt flew up. They kind of passed it around, but nobody stopped. Everybody's still buying. It's at $1.21. People are like, fuck it. They're still buying because guess what? You're averaging down pretty fucking quick at $1.21. Is AMC going to go out of business? No. I don't think they're still going to go out of business. I never thought they'd have to do a reverse split, but worst comes to worst, they'll do another one of those. Maybe a 3, 2-1, 4-1, I don't know. Something like that. 5-1, I don't know. But they're not going to be going out of business. But the thing is as you guys can see over the last couple weeks, shorting. It's like shorting into oblivion. Every time they know an ATM is going to come out, they're going to do exactly what they said in the email with Jeffrey Epstein. If a company is bleeding, it's a no-brainer to short it into oblivion from 3 pennies to 2 to 1. They have to hyper dilute when they raise money. And that's what I've been telling you guys forever. Everybody wants to sit there, scream at Adam Aaron. Did the guy do a lot of stupid shit? Yes. When he did stupid shit, I criticized him. When he did smart things, like I said, everybody thought it was so fucking dumb when he did the Hycroft thing. I was like, dude, if you guys look at the financial system, gold and silver is going to explode. This is a good investment. He said 5 years. 5 years it came out and it exploded. Did he do another stupid thing? Yeah, I believe he did a stupid thing when he sold when he did. Of course I would think that. Look at the price shortly after. Do I think it raised right after because of him? No. A lot of people maybe, no, I don't think that's how it works. I believe Eric Spratt kind of bullied him out of it. I mean, we still have a lot where we're still going to make. They're going to still make a killing on that position. So it was still a very smart move. But like I said, dumb timing to sell, in my opinion. But it is what it is. But like I said, with all this, if you look over here, everything we've been saying, it's been going on. It is happening. Here they are. They're naked shorting. They're shorting it. They're not doing obligations. They're on $1.12 trillion in margins. It's just going up. The obligations are still there. They're still rising. They haven't gone away. So if everybody thinks these plays are done, they're not done. They're just, like I said, the U.S. stock market is so corrupt. They have so many outs. And then the other problem is when all else fails, they own the regulators. So then the regulators will let them slip on by. So right now, we need, like I said, we got to just keep. The smartest thing we ever could have done was let AMC get financially stable again. We should have let them raise capital, and I said to keep doing it back then, but everybody just had to listen to Matt fucking Trash Coors. But again, guys, these plays are not over. They're just moved. They're moved to where you can't see them off books. It's just like all these corporations I've been showing you, like NVIDIA and all these accounting scams left and right, because no regulator gives a fuck. All these regulators, like I said, the first rule that should have been passed. If you're a regulator, you can't work at a bank or an investment firm or any type of these places for 5 years. Guess what? People would have came in and did their jobs. Instead, they were worried about getting their next job instead of worrying about doing the one they're at. So, again, obviously, when it comes down to these plays, you look at Citadel when we first started and all these companies, like Citadel was bragging, oh man, we own our own company. Ken Griffin owns 100% of the company. And in the last 3 years, what has he done? He's done capital raises. He's taken out debt and debt and debt and bonds. Now, in the end of the day, people don't understand when these guys are out there raising these bonds, those bondholders basically become, the owners of the company. If you default on those loans and those bonds, they get to take a lot of shit. They're your bosses. I told everybody that since the beginning. Don't ever love these CEOs because in the end of the day, they work for their bonds people more than their shareholders. They always do. They always will because that's who they're indebted to. A lot of people, you think you work at your job, but you don't work at your job. You work for the bank. You don't work for your job. You work for the banks. You work for the banks that own all your loans because if you didn't own loans and you had all these things, you wouldn't be working there. They own your debt and they could take your assets. You work for them. And that's the problem in the United States. Always be working for the bank. So again, though, Citadel, they always talk about it. They never have money problems, but yet it's just capital raise, capital raise, capital raise. Their last capital raise was to pay management guys. And now again, they're coming over here and taking a loan out. Now, I told you, a month ago, I was like, you guys, this China shit's going to affect them. So not even 2.5 weeks later, they take out a big $1.2 billion loan. Now, again, this is how easy it is for us in the United States to fix Citadel and this corruption in the stock market. China clamps down on high-speed traders as we went over. So what they ended up doing, a lot of these people in China, because what I told you about in the United States is they use satellite dishes. They purchase giant skyscrapers or just the tops, and then they let them put satellite dishes so they get those milliseconds off and every second matters. Well, they can't do that in China. So what they do is they have dedicated server boxes at brokers. Okay, so these firms, market maker firms and all of them, they connect to the dedicated server box, which gives them the advantage. So what they ended up doing is telling these brokers, by next month, every one of those dedicated server boxes are now illegal. You need to get everyone out of there. So it's gonna hurt Citadel. I was showing you guys. It's going to take away all their advantage. Now, Citadel in China is just an average firm. They're just an average, everyday firm. They have no advantage. And guess what? They're losing just like everyone else does. So, the other thing that I wanted to show you guys that I didn't show you guys in last time that's going to hurt Citadel a lot. And this is one of the reasons why I believe that they're needing to take out this loan because they're going to lose a ton of money on this. But if you guys look at towards the bottom here, it says not only are they clamping down now on margin for these firms, so they're not letting them get away with these margin debts like they are in the United States where they're at 1.2 trillion, but it also says they're coming after ETF trades by foreign market makers. So they're going after all these ETFs. They're going after all the ETF scams, anything to do with foreign market makers. Again, Citadel. They're trying to find the crap out of them for doing illegal things in ETFs. This is the stuff. Like I said, it's so easy to start fixing this stuff. You ban payment for order flow. I mean, there's so many easy things that we could do, and it's like the fact that China's doing them all, and we're not. The other thing they were talking about doing is doing hostage fees. So if these high frequency traders are doing illegal things, they're going to also get charged hostage fees on top of it, on paying the fine, paying back everything, and most of these guys are now going to prison. So how do we fix a lot of this stuff? We can learn a lot of this from China, but again, this is going to affect Citadel's income drastically over there. Like I said, they're going from automatic profits to now they're going to be losing money. We need to be pushing lobbyists. Well, that's the other problem. Like, these guys own all the lobbyists. So again, one of the things I wanted to get into, and it's like I hate getting into politicians and I hate getting into all this shit, but then it's like it's all intertwined. It's all intertwined. All these politicians are getting paid by these hedge funds. They're all getting paid by these guys in dark money, and it's fucking everything up. So I just wanted to show you guys this quick, and this is why I said, again, when it comes to silver, gold, and all that stuff, if you're worrying about it just plummeting again, it's not going to happen. They have paper contracts 400 to 1 on silver. So they own 4 times the amount of silver that is out there. They have to deliver on these contracts silver. There's 4 to 1 promised on the amount of available silver to how much they've promised to give out. So at some point, there's going to be another massive jump because they're going to have to start, buying those silver and filling those contracts that they're doing. So one of the things that I wanted to show you guys, though, I'm going to get into all of these politicians, and we're going to stick with these corporations quick. Like I said, it's not just going to be, well, everyone's thinking I'm going to be doing the Donnie Bash, but it's all of them, man. It's fucking all of them. So talks today about how, Donald Trump's, he did that big, beautiful bill and all this stuff, and I just wanted to show you guys all this stuff when it comes to taxes, because it always comes down to coming after us with these things and these taxes. So after Donald Trump does this big, beautiful bill, it is actually going to add an additional $1.4 trillion to the deficit each year. Yeah, you heard that right, each year. They're talking about in the next 10 years, it's going to be another 4.7 trillion more than they projected. And on top of that, this is why I'm telling you guys, gold and silver will explode again. If you look over here in the first 4 months of the 2026 fiscal year, the government is taking in 1.8 trillion. This is also with all the added revenue of tariffs. But guess what? They spent 2.5. So we're already at negative $700 billion. The government doesn't know how to budget, but they tell you how to budget. The government can't. Here's the problem. Every time they take in more revenue from tariffs, they spend twice the amount of what they take from the tariffs. We pay the tariffs. So again, it's constantly more taxes coming out of us, higher prices for us. Now, at the same time, that big, beautiful bill I want to show you guys, Tesla made 300, so Amazon, Meta, all Facebook, Tesla, they made $315 billion in 2025. Together now, they paid 4.9 in taxes on those profits, a tax break. So that big, beautiful bill gave them a $51 billion tax break, while their profits are at all-time high. Now, during this time, they're all firing everybody left and right. So on top of that, if you guys look over here, I want to talk about these data centers for 2 seconds here. So if you guys look at this stuff, it talks about Amazon's taxes for the year before that, and then once they started doing the big, beautiful bill, they started putting up all these data centers, because things people don't understand is these data centers, look it up, data centers, these things are 100% taxable. They're 100% taxable. The equipment, everything. It's all tax deductions. So because of that, it said one of the most noticeable increase is these data centers from 2024 to 2025. They paid $9 billion to just $1.2 billion. So an 87% decline. Now, if you look over here, it talks about right here. Data centers are tax write-offs. They get subsidized also. So not only are these guys getting tax write-offs on these data centers, If you look at the bottom here, it talks about how we pay millions and millions of dollars, taxpayers do, for each one of these to be built. Now, it says sometimes costing taxpayers millions per job. And the thing that most people don't understand about these data centers is there's probably about 15 workers in these data centers that are 75 football fields long, destroying the environment and everything around it, raising electricity prices. Now, electricity since these data centers came. Now, one of the things I want you guys to understand real quick, because this is reality and you really need to listen to this. There's data centers right now, prices have already skyrocketed. They're already skyrocketing. If you look around here, 13, 12, 17, 3.8. These California caps it off. They put all these like protections in place, so they're not jumping up over there as much. They're also already more equipped for it because of Silicon Valley. So they didn't go up as much as everyone else. But all these other states are going to just keep rising. So right now you're talking 15, 16%, 12% in these states. And these data centers are only accounting for 7%. They project, and everybody said this, they project these data centers in the next year to 2 years to be up to 40%. So the cost of your electricity is projected to jump up about 85%. Just so you know, if you are listening, just be prepared for that. I'm just warning you guys ahead of time on all this stuff. Data centers are now 7%, and they project that to be 40% of all demand. Now, I'm not going to keep going to the data centers, but what I want you guys to start listening to about all this. So why these guys are now, this is the problem in the United States. So now why all of these guys are getting these tax breaks, they're doing all this stuff. If you guys look over here, and talks about, big money today is now going into capital, not labor. I've shown you guys labor is not really being prioritized. It's not going up. It hasn't really gone up much at all in the last couple of years, to be honest with you. It's pretty stagnant. But profits have gone up and up and up. If you look at corporate profits are up to 43%, an all-time high. So these guys keep saying they can't afford all you guys. They can't afford this and that, but they're at all-time high in corporate profits. They can't give you raises, but they make the most profits they've ever made. Now, if you guys look down here, this is your hourly wage. This is your hourly wage, how much it's gone up during that time, okay? It hasn't gone up at all. It's stagnant as fuck. There you go. The average hourly wage hasn't gone up. Now, most people sit there and say, well, mine has gone up. But yes, but what these companies do is when you hit a certain point, they find any reason to get rid of you. And then they're going to bring in the next guy. And he's going to start down here. And then they're going to keep that lower while their profits keep going up and up and up. Now, the problem is back in the day when we used to have, they actually valued talent. This is the problem with outsourcing work. This is the problem with having slave labor across the world. When you have slave labor across the world, when you could do these H-1B1s for half the cost, that kills competition, that kills labor, that kills awarding people with certain talents. Because you could just outsource that talent, and now you could hire them for half the cost, and now that continuously brings that average wage for that job lower and lower and lower. So instead of putting it into getting good workers, this is the thing. Corporations own so much, they're so powerful, they don't care about their products. Back in the day, they used to put it into good workers, as you guys can see. They put it into good workers. They put it into, here, if you guys look, this is the problem in the United States right here. The shift from capital labor. So before, we used to get, back in your grandparents' day, labor force received 58% of total proceeds of economic output. 58%. Nowadays, we're down to more around 45. They said it's actually dropped a little bit lower, so we're more around 42. So they've taken 16% of what was generated away from you and put it in their own pockets and told you every time they can't afford to give you more raises. And then they have people fighting on the side of the billionaires who are screwing you in the market, in the economy. These guys can take out, they don't pay taxes. This is why I don't understand it. These guys bitch and whine and moan about taxes. They don't pay them because all their stuff is paid in stock. They have assets, so they take loans out. They don't take payments. Why didn't Donald Trump want his presidential salary? They won't have to probably pay taxes on the shit. He doesn't want to ever have to pay taxes. I just won't take a salary and I'll steal billions later on. What are they going to do? No one's going to do anything about it. But this is the problem. So now you no longer reward talented workers. You're no longer paying more. You're no longer looking. So today I posted a report came out that 40% of job postings are ghost postings. Now listen to how fucked up this is. They want you to fill out your resume and give it to them. It has all your information on it. Guess what they do with that? They sell it now. They sell your information. They're now doing ghost postings just to collect information on people. Just to collect all your backgrounds, to collect talented workers. People that they think are talented workers go in one pile and they sell that information. Like I said, everything is just a profit off of middle class and lower class workers. Now, everybody was talking about with the economy, and this is what I'm saying. All this ends up showing you the economy is way, 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 way worse than people think. And eventually that will catch up. I've been saying gold and silver will always be your way out, and it will still continue to be your way out. If you guys look at the job numbers, it says payroll job numbers revised down by over 1 million for 2025. And then if you guys look at job creations, it was all in healthcare. So basically everybody's just getting sick and they're just hiring more workers and oh great, we fired all these people. Now one of the things I want you guys to think about this too. So they showed payroll data, right? After they said that they deported over 1 million people, they said that the foreign job numbers only went down by 97,000. So that means, like I said, man, what were these guys all being paid under the roof? Were there not that many working? What was going on here? But again, we're going to go back into the economy output, as you guys can see with this. So getting back into this, everybody's broke as hell. 9 large companies filed for bankruptcy in the U.S. in last week. So already starting in 2020, we're already off to pretty much the hottest start since COVID. When's ASC going to Moass? Well, it all comes into that, man. The economy, if the economy keeps struggling, if everything keeps going down for these companies and these banks, and they have to keep lying about profits, eventually when you're lying about profits, it catches up to you. Because suddenly you say you have money that you don't have. You can't afford things. You need to have to operate your business. Eventually it catches up to you. These guys are lying by the billions. When you're lying by the billions, eventually it becomes trillions, just like our national debt. And suddenly you're in a lot of trouble. Like I said, these guys they're pushing things off because they don't think they'll ever get caught. And then when they do, they just push it off and pay the regulators. Perfect example. Pam Bondi in 2024 took a payment to be an advisor, is the quote. She got bribed. She got bribed $200K. But they called her an advisor, gave her a fake job. Next year in 2025, right in February, right when she got right in, guess what her first act was? She dropped a bribery case against Pfizer. It was an ongoing bribery case. The first thing she did in office, dropped that shit. So, meanwhile, you have all these companies. You now are starting to have major companies collapse, and that's when you start having all of these problems. And then when you go over to the household debt, now you have household debt, and this is what I'm saying. This is insane. Household debt is now up to $191 billion. I mean, it's up $191 billion. It's at $18.8 trillion. Household debt is at $18.8 trillion. How long is that going to take to ever pay off? Debt is beyond, and this is my point. Trump comes out here and he says, I want you to lower rates. If you lower rates, that means you're giving out more debt. You're already at 18.8 trillion in debt. Why would you give it out easier? People obviously can't afford it now. Why would you give them more? Like I said, this economy is run by idiots. It's run by billionaires that got rich by nothing that they did. Perfect example, Mark Zuckerberg. Didn't do shit. He pretty much financed it, but he couldn't write the code and do all that shit. He had to do it from his buddy that they made the movie about, and he fucking pretty much stole it from. I mean, I'll give it to Elon. You know, he made his company. He caught these fucking people shorting him, and it blew his shit up like crazy. But most of these people, like I said, they basically stole the invention. They got government grants. It wasn't like they did this shit on their own. So while our household debt is surging, student loans are now at default. all-time high. We're at 17%. So he turned those back on, and then he said they can now start garnishing your wages. A month later, after he saw this giant surge go up, he said they can no longer garnish wages because we're already killing the middle class. Like I said, these guys don't know what the fuck they're doing. Bankers will ensure we stay in debt. Pharmaceutical companies will ensure we stay sick but not cured. The weapons manufacturers will ensure we keep going to war. The media ensure we are prevented from knowing the truth. And the government will ensure all of this is done legally. All behind their back, payments, handshakes, bills. Said, it's a big club, man. We're not in it. Best way to say it, the man himself.
Good, honest, hardworking people continue. These are people of modest means. Continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you. Nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on. The fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant of the big red, white, and blue dick that's being jammed up their assholes every day. Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it.
This man knew way too much and was way ahead of his time, and people just took it off his jokes, but it was all true, man. It was all true. That man is a legend. But again, you go back into this stuff, you go over here. It all stems down to, like, I've told people how easy it is to fix America. You have to disband fucking Citizens United. Citizens United is the biggest fucking curse on all of America. It's lobbyists for billionaires and corporations, but they call it Citizens United, so people think it's really good for the American people. No, it fucks the American people. That's all it does. That's all it does. So, in 2008, this is when 2008 is when everybody asks, when did the world go to shit? It was 2008. First, they let them get away with the biggest financial crisis fucking heist in the world, and we bailed them out. The people that stole from us, the bankers that gambled your money away and lost it, you bailed them out with tax money. Then, what ends up happening the same time? Hillary fucking Clinton is running for president. Or running for whatever the fuck she was doing at that time. Some company was about to smear her ass, right? They were going to spend a whole bunch of money. They were going to do all this stuff. They made all these ads. They made all these commercials. They were going to air it, but because it was against some government act that made it to where you could only spend a certain amount of money on dark money because they were spending way over the limit, it got shot down, right? So what ends up happening is Citizens United sees that, hey, they shot this down because it's against the law, and what do? They sue them. They sue them. They sue the regulators. Citizens United sues the regulators. They end up winning in Supreme Court, of course, because that's where the government fucking owns the court systems. So then they overrule it, and all of a sudden, unlimited dark money was opened. The floodgates were opened in 2008 because of a case where one fucking company wanted to smear Hillary Clinton, and Citizens United sued the FDA or FTC or whoever the fuck it was. They sued them, and after they sued them, it made it from only being able to spend a certain amount of money on dark money to being able to spend unlimited. And next thing you notice, billions and billions and billions of dollars started coming in to every single election. And now because of that, your average person will never be able to become president again. It will always be these rich pieces of shit. And then the same time, these same rich pieces of shit who decide the elections do what Elon's doing every day. Elon Musk whines about how hard his life is more than anybody I have ever seen in my life. Every day on Twitter, this guy's moping around, oh, you guys, the government fucking me. You're the richest man alive. I don't think anyone's doing anything to you. Bureaucracy corrupted democracy. The guy himself dumped $350 million into the last election. And he's bitching about how money is interfering, dark money is interfering with the elections. Why? Because they're going to lose at midterms. That's why. The entire world's realizing how fucking corrupt this shit really is, and how bad these guys are at covering this shit up. If you guys watch Bondi in that deposition, that was the biggest gong show I've ever seen. The fact she's not in prison right now Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then dark money. And this is my point. This is like anybody, when you sit there and you listen to these medias and believe them. Look, this is here's a perfect example. This bitch right here is the owner of the Atlantic. She was caught in the files. She was known to be hanging out with Maxwell. For all we know, this bitch did some shit. I don't know. I'm not going to accuse her, but she was definitely good friends with this girl. This girl also had input on stuff she wrote in her magazine. There was proof later on. They had input that was made. So you have a public magazine influenced by Epstein. Now watch. This came out, 9 days ago. Listen to this, man. Yeah, sorry, the Dow's at 50,000, guys. It's okay, though. It's okay. It's 50,000. But listen to this. If you don't believe the media is corrupt and owned and lying to you, easy as this. Here's the bitch with Maxwell. Here's what she wrote 9 days ago. What the hell? Sorry, my computer was lagging hard. The Epstein files revealed that plenty of powerful people tolerated or participated in disgusting, shameful, and even criminal behavior. But they also bolster the case that there was never any grand conspiracy and none of this shit happened. And if you read into this, I'm not going to click the article. I don't want to even give the shitty company views. You can click on it if you want to. Oh man, she talks about it's all hoax stuff. This was said when this wasn't. None of this was proven, even though we've proven multiple emails have proven more than enough. Many of these emails have proven more than enough. But here she is like, oh, they didn't do much. These rich, powerful people, they're innocent. They're just bystanders. They didn't participate. They just allowed it. They were just at the parties. They knew that he was doing stuff, but they just didn't tell on him. Oh, okay. I knew a guy murdered 55 people. I just didn't tell any fucking one. No. Am I going to get charged later on? You're damn right I'll get charged later on if they find out. But don't worry about it. The rich guys didn't do it. They just watched. Fucking insane, dude. Insane, dude. At the same time, now watch this, because this is more money coming out of your pocket. Listen to this. Trump is suing us right now for $10 billion. Now listen.
Yes, sir.
Where would that be cut from? Let's say for some reason he actually wins that lawsuit. Where would that $10 billion come from?
Again, it would come from...
Process-wise. I'm not asking like your opinion whether it's right or wrong.
It would come from Treasury.
It comes from Treasury, which comes from the general fund?
The Treasury general account.
So taxpayers?
Yes.
Thank you.
Part of the 440,000 taxpayers whose return...
we kind of touched on this earlier.
So Donald Trump is suing you for $10 billion, dude. $10 billion. And did you hear how he knew he was caught? And what did he do? He was beating around the bush. Where's that money coming from? Listen to this. Where's that money coming from?
Sir.
Where would that be cut from? Let's say for some reason he actually wins that lawsuit. Where would that $10 billion come from?
Again, it would come from...
Process-wise. I'm not asking like your opinion whether it's...
Fucking trash. Everyone in this administration, fucking trash, dude. They're all fucking corrupt criminals. And anyone who says, well, he didn't take a salary, yeah, because he's taking $10 billion. I'll tell you what, don't pay me $300K and I'll take $10 billion. We'll call it even. After he crypto scammed us. The same dude is fucking opening a crypto ETF right now. Now, why do I bring all this up? It's not to bash Trump. It's to fucking show you guys. You guys, when people gave a shit about America, when it was fucking something to be proud of, Jimmy Carter had to sell his fucking peanut farm because they were afraid of corruption and too many people buying his peanuts. Meanwhile, Trump's over here making Trump coins, creating ETFs, manipulating the market, giving his kids insider information, giving his children fucking contracts. The $400 million from the ballroom donors I showed you got an extra $60 billion in government contracts compared to last year. I'll give you $40 million if you give me 60 extra billion. You see what I'm... the corruption in the United States is beyond fucking savable. It is beyond fucking savable. You're not voting your way out of this shit. And that's my point. I told you guys long time ago, there's two ways that this can go. Either they're going to let these fuckers keep doing these margin debts, and they're just going to let them go out of control, print, buy every fucking thing imaginable, to the point where there's nothing left to buy. Then they'll let it crash. And then all of it, it'll let you all just fucking fend for yourselves. And they'll do what they do every time. Because every fucking retard hasn't figured out red or blue doesn't give a fuck about you. They care about how much money they make. Listen to me. Listen to me. I want you to listen to this. It's the most important thing you'll ever hear. Government does not care about your problems. They care about making enough money so your problems don't apply to them. You need to understand that. It doesn't matter if they're fucking red. Doesn't matter if they're blue. They care about how much they can make in office. If you don't believe me, ask Marjorie Green Taylor, whatever fuck her name is. Green MGS. I don't pay attention to all these politicians, just their crimes. MGS comes out, talks all this shit for fucking ever about all these things, and what she do? In the meantime, she makes $40 million insider trading and then retires. And then after she retires, she talks about how her entire demeanor changed. How fucked is this system? How fucked is everything? These guys are getting rich off insider trading as she's made 40 million herself. As Elon's bitching about how democracy's destroyed because people are buying it as he put $350 million into the last election. These guys will do what I told you they'll always do. They'll cry at each other, point fingers when all else comes down to it, because look at just like this. The Epstein files are coming out, and what's going on? They're doing exactly what I said. The FBI, you need to look at, Hoffman needs to be investigated. He's in the Epstein files. Hoffman, the FBI cleared me. Elon, you're all over it. Liar, you're guilty. You were in them. You were at the island, but there's fucking, like I told you. In the end of the day, when it all starts to collapse, they'll tell on each other because that's all they have left. It will be when all of the fucking when the ants finally wake the fuck up, when we stop using banks, when we all get the fuck out of their system, when we start getting into silver and gold, when like I said, I can't say, like, my Discord, I haven't traded much this last week. I kind of took a week off. Like, we killed it in silver, then silver got fucking crushed. Luckily, I took a week off when it got crushed. But it's like, I'm getting back into trading, but it's like, I really wish we could all just get into something and just run stuff together. But like I said, guys, it's like, if you are buying, I don't care if it's one share, direct route it. Just direct route it. Please fucking direct route it. I can't stress that more than anything in the world. Direct route your shares to a lit exchange and do it to the IEX. Here's the thing. When 5 years ago, when we all were talking about AMC and I was showing you all this stuff, I got for maybe a month, maybe a month and a half. I got people to order the IEX every fucking day, and it was tons of people, and it was beautiful. And the IEX was literally declining orders because they ran out of shares. It was beautiful. And if that kept going, if more people started joining and the IEX kept running out of shares, and they always were out of shares, and people were only ordering from them, true price action would have started going up. Because they would have started, all these orders would have hit the tape. You would have had supply and demand. There would have been running out of shares. You would have been having things where IEX now needs to continuously buy shares. Now you have an exchange filling shares. Eventually, you would have had it to the point where IEX had a massive amount of AMC shares. They would have had a massive amount of GME shares. And they're all on the lit exchange. That was where I wanted everyone to go, but nobody wanted to. Everybody did it for a week. They said, God, the amount of DMs I got that said, I just don't like Fidelity's interface. Who fucking cares? It takes 2 seconds to learn it, dude. It takes 2 seconds to learn an interface. And then when you use that interface for a week, it just becomes natural. That's how lazy people were. And then instead of doing that, they would blow up on me. You said if this, you didn't do what I said to do. 5% took their money out of the bank and everyone goes, we took our money out of the banks. 5% out of 9 fucking millions of you. 10,000 took your money out of the bank, and you look at me going, it didn't work. Of course it didn't work. 10,000 out of fucking 5 million did it. It's crazy, man. Like, these guys, I told you guys, do you guys remember When this all started, I told you this is going to be everybody's, oh, it's going to happen in a fucking week. And everybody hated me. I go, nope, strap your fucking boots in, guys. If you're getting in this play at this point, strap the fuck in. We're talking years. People were fucking pissed. I'm like, we're strapping in. We're going for a long time unless something collapses. The only way we win is we get these ISDA contracts to collapse. We get a bank to collapse. We get the financial system to collapse. Because these regulators, even though these guys lost, you guys, look at, you won. Here you go. If you don't think you won, if you don't believe we won, here it is right there. It's right in front of your fucking eyes. Right there. There is $1.2 trillion in margin debt. There's not that much in collateral. These guys are beyond fucking stretched. They're just letting them get away with it. And then what they're doing with it is when it gets to these points, like here in 2022, if you look right here. 2022. Now watch this. Here, look at this. Now watch this. To prove my point, here it is in front of your eyes. Here we go. Right in front of your eyes. So in 2022, look right here. It got too high. They couldn't stop the margins that were about to fucking collapse. So what did they do? Here it is right here. In 2022, the national total derivatives rose by 27% to $292 trillion. The credit derivatives value increased by 50% to $14.4 trillion during the same period. They went over to the dark markets. They went over to ISDA and got contracts and hid them all. Well, guess what? That only gave them a brief moment of relief. And we didn't sell. And you look here. We didn't sell. Everybody's still sitting here fucking, I'm down, everyone's down, but we're down too much to the point where no one's going to fucking sell. Why would you sell? You're not gonna. So everyone they keep fucking pounding, they keep shorting, keep doing margin. You keep seeing it. You keep seeing margin percentages fly on these stocks. And then one day they just drop and price action never reflects it. Why? It's because they put them right in the ISDA contracts. So I've told you guys since day one. That's where they're going. ISDA. Now, like I said over here, it jumped 27%. And you're talking to $229 trillion. That's like fucking, trying to do math quick. 30%. That's like $30 trillion worth. Well, I mean, right around it up. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, what are we talking about? No, it's more than that, man. It's way more than that. What am I talking about? It's way more than that. Let me get my calculator. I don't know if a calculator can fucking compute $292 trillion fucking dollars. Unfathomable. $80 trillion. So you guys listen to this. So in 2022, when margin debt was out of control and they were about to burst, $80 trillion went into derivatives. Worth of notional value of bets. What are we doing? I've told you guys forever. Is this where they hide the dead bodies? If you guys remember that Patrick Burns interview, Patrick Burns, I wish I could find this video. I really do. So Patrick Burns, a long time ago, was talking to a report. No, it wasn't a reporter. It was an SEC regulator or something. It was like a regulator. It was in an invest. I think it was a regulator. I can't remember. It was someone like that. It was like a regulator or a judge or someone. I can't remember who it was. But I watched this thing. It was like an hour and a half long. And he was talking about the naked shorting and all this stuff, and his company and Chewy and all that, and how he knew all this stuff was getting attacked. Blah blah blah. Or, I mean, not Chewy, Overstock or whatever. He knew how he was getting attacked, and then he asked him. He goes, "Somebody emailed me. A guy emailed me that had connections into what was happening," and he said, "Start watching foreign exchanges." And he said these certain things in order are going to start to happen to you. And when I showed you guys that iceberg picture I showed you guys that iceberg picture. You remember? Like 5 years ago, I found that story, and they arrested that guy. I can't remember his name. So long ago, they arrested that guy, and he got charged. And he told them all the naked shorting thing. And I showed you guys the iceberg theory. Here, let me see if I can pull it up. I probably can find it quick. If I can find it, 2 seconds here. Here you go. Okay. So I showed you guys this in that report like 5 years ago. This thing. Here you go. Government report. Here we go. This SEC file, this is the guy I showed you about. This is the exact report. This is the report on. If you guys want to honestly know exactly, if you want to be smart in the market, know exactly what they do. And I mean exactly what they do, how they do it. This goes into everything. This tells you exactly everybody's role. Exactly. This tells you exactly how the broker does what he does. The brokers who clear the transactions, it tells you exactly what they do and how their part they play. It tells you how the hedge funds play their role. It tells you the market makers. It tells you what the short sellers' role are. It tells you about how the SEC is in on it as well. It talks about how the regulators are involved and how they're letting people and how they get around it to these regulators. It talked about how regulators would make phone calls and tell them, "Hey, I'm coming to check you, so make sure that by tomorrow all of your over margin is gone." So they would let them know ahead of time they're coming the next day. So they would write an ISDA contract, or they would do a trade suddenly and they would move that offshore to somebody else. It talks about how the DTCC is corrupt as fuck. It talks about, like I said, it goes super into short sellers. It talks about naked shorts. This talks about the FTD rules that we all learned about. It talks about how they do things with options and how they cheat with options and say that they have more shares than they do with options. It talks about how they illegally hedge, talks about naked calls, naked shorts. It goes into every aspect of fraud you can ever imagine. So, this is where I learned about the CNS program. So, 5 years ago, everybody like, if you don't know how I started, I was on Reddit. I was on all those big Reddit things, and literally almost everything I was doing was getting blown up forever. And then Jackson, Hunter, and Trey had me on their channel because I was blowing up on Reddit. So when I first started on Reddit, this was the first thing I showed everybody, and this is when I started talking about the CNS program because it's right here. The first thing they do. So what they'll do is fail to deliver. This is the stuff me and you see, okay? So this is what we see. We see FTDs, and we see the disclosed shorts. These are the self-reported short numbers. That's what me and you see. But what's really going on below the belt, you got settlement failures that they're not collecting on. You have the CNS program, which I've shown you guys. The CNS program can make unlimited shares. Unlimited shares. They can keep going in there forever. They can take as much time to deliver back into the CNS program on those shares as long as they have people to have a delivery need. So as long as people keep ordering the stocks, they can keep on shorting the CNS program. After that doesn't work, or if there's so much going on in the CNS, it's too high, they end up going to the broker dealers, the clearing houses, like what we saw before, Apex Clearing. Remember, we had that problem with Apex Clearing, and they had to shut it all down when we all got fucked and they shut the buy button off. They go to the broker if that doesn't work. Then if that doesn't work, they start to mismark tickets. How many reports have I shown you guys where they are marking longs as shorts and shorts as long? Unlimited. Unlimited. They do false locates, which I've shown you guys over and over. They're getting charged with false locates. 1-day lens. This is when the regulators are about to come over, like I showed you, and they call over to their friend, and their friend gives them a 1-day loan of shares. Then they show that they have the shares. They pay their buddy a little interest, and there you go. The regulators come and the regulators go. Then they get back their margin the next day, and the regulators never saw anything. That's what the 1-day lens are. They got naked stock options, options that they're filling with. They're doing naked calls, naked options like that, and they don't have the shares to back these naked calls and stuff that they're writing. They're doing perpetual rolling on FTDs. Like I showed you guys before, every time the FTDs would be due after 30 days, they would pass it to another person on day 28 to reset the 30-day clock. They have a group inner network of about 8 to 10 people, so they can pass those things around for 240 days a year and just keep going passing it. So every 240 days, they get it back one time. And that is how they keep scooting by the regulators. Okay? And then when all of that fails and there's so much and retail just doesn't stop fucking ordering and there's nothing they can do, they go into ISDA. Okay? That is what the foreign exchanges are. Then they go into ISDA when all else fails. It is their last option on the entire iceberg. That is why I told you guys ISDA is so important. That is why for months and months and months after I got a platform, all I talked about was ISDA. Because when ISDA's gone, what's below ISDA, guys? Nothing. So let's crush fucking ISDA. That's where all the bodies are. They're all there. They're all in ISDA. They're all in ISDA. Every fucking one of them. The trillions and trillions of dollars, they're in fucking ISDA. Just sitting there. That's where they all are. I just showed you guys 30% raised the second all this margin fall. The second that the margin was about to break and you were going to win, again, they moved it $80 trillion in national value worth, which I know people will be like, oh, that's still like fucking $17 trillion worth. That's insane. 17 trillion just pops into is 30% more quick, just boom. Said, guys, you don't have to like me, you don't have to think I've anything. But you cannot deny the fact that I've shown you everything I've shown you, what they're doing, how they're doing it, how to get away with it, how to beat it. It's been the answer. It's been the answer. I've given you the answer. You support your company, you fuck up the banks, you make those ISDA contracts collect. You order to fucking lit exchanges. If you don't know options, stop fucking buying them. They're just raping you guys every time on them. That's why in Discord, it's still to the point where they're buying out of the money options. Why? You don't buy out of the money options unless you can't afford to buy in the money options, or you can buy multiple contracts of that option. Let's say you were going to do one out of the option and it was allowing you to get 2 contracts. Okay, fine. You want to play the risk, play the risk. Otherwise, there's no reason to. Otherwise, you're just getting harder theta decay, more risk. You need that stock to jump faster. There's just so many different things, and you need it to jump drastically. You need to play volatility. You have to play it in certain ways. Like I'm gonna do. I have it. I finally finished writing up my next video. I'm going to my next video. I'm going to be on here for like 2 hours. We're going to do it live. I want you guys to ask as many fucking questions as you can. But I'm going to just do options. Options, strategies. You don't have to follow them, but I'm going to give you the basis. All right, if you're going to buy this type of contract, you need to play it. You could play it this way or this way or this way, but don't just buy the contract and stare at it. That's not how you do it. There's strategies the second you buy something. Open interest, all this stuff, it all matters. Like I said, theta, delta, all this matters, and you got to learn them all. If you're not gonna, like I said, don't just chase the shit out of options, because they rape you on that, and then they take all that money, and it's free money for them. Every one of your contracts that end up out of the money, unless you roll it over, guess what? That's free money for them. They just made a shit ton. And they didn't even have to do anything. They just had to manipulate the stock to where, guess what? I showed you guys forever. Max Payne was hitting like ridiculous amount. So, like I said, there's certain ways to play things. Volatility is an insanely important aspect. Like I said, we're going to get into all that. I want everyone to ask questions. I was just going to do a video, but I'm like, I feel like a live would help anybody more, so you guys can ask. Because I'll do some, I'll make some, we'll write some out together. We'll do some things. We'll look at the data behind them all and stuff. And like I said, and I'll tell you, all right, I'm going to play it this. I got a couple little small slideshow that has a whole bunch of like, all right, if you get this, you could play it 1 of 5 ways, just so you know what. You pick the way. I'm not telling you how to do it. You're still making all of your decisions, but I'm giving you ways. I'm giving you decisions to make. I don't want to have people just, like I said, since day one, I don't want people to just follow my channel and come away with nothing. I want you to be able to learn something every episode. Every stream, I want you to go away with something, or like I said, so that way you don't have to just keep coming back, and you can do all this stuff on your own, and we all learn and grow together. If retail all learns and grows together, and like I said, you're all in my Discord, guess what? We can win together. I don't have to sit there and post plays all day, and everyone else can post winning plays, and we're all having fun. But Let me get back into all this stuff. But like I said, guys, this shit is all so fucking intertwined at this point. It's all so interconnected in the stock market, politicians. Why aren't they ever going to stop insider trading? Why would they? Then they're only going to make $170,000 instead of making 5 to 10 million. There's zero incentives. It's to the point where we, the people should be voting on shit. We should be saying what should be on ballots and putting them on the fucking ballots. And they'll be like, well, you can do that by talking to your congressman. They don't give a fuck what their people say. They care about getting their votes. And then again, they don't care about your problems. They care about making enough money so your problems don't apply to them. That's it. Every fucking one of them. America is lost, dude. People, I've said we're going to need a revolution. There was two ways out of this, man. They either Moass, because think about this. You either let Moass happen. Here, think about it. Think about this logically. Your economy is dying because your middle and lower class are dying. All of your companies are dying. Now, one of the things I told you guys forever, these rich fucking cocksuckers, I want you to listen to this clip right after this, okay? They don't care. We're nothing to them. We're not even human beings. They don't even refer to you as people. They refer to you as able bodies. Now, why they continue to destroy the economy and all this shit, listen to what this fucker says, and then I'll keep going. I fucking hate.
They have agency over their future. To start working a year earlier, right out of high school, or work a year later, not retire, or work better during their lifetime because they're healthy, it would generate about $3 trillion. $3 trillion to the U.S. economy. That would more than remove the debt. It would provide us unbelievable strength because the taxes on that $3 trillion would.
So, again, like always, their fix is people need to work sooner. Let's lower the age, the minimum age. Let's get them to work quicker. If they're an abled body, I didn't have you say, listen to this fucking, I hate this. This is what they always say.
If we could get the average American, because they feel healthy, they're vital, they're strong, they have agency over their future.
These able bodies, these healthy workers, the second they're healthy, get them in jobs, get them quicker. Then, fuck them. They need to retire later so we can keep being fucking rich pieces of fucking shit. I hate talking about politicians because nothing gets me more pissed off. I hate them all. They're all fucking human garbage. Good God, I thought Joe Biden was the worst president in the United States history. I thought nothing could be worse. And then Trump's second term came, and I'm like, okay, what the fuck is happening? We now love corruption. We love criminality. We protect pedophiles. We steal. Our president's going to be a multi-billionaire off his presidency. Everything we were against is happening right in front of our eyes. And not one person's doing anything. Instead, we're more worrying about fucking... These guys are on SNAP benefits. They're lazy. Do you notice that? It's always about you guys just need to work harder. These able, healthy people need to work harder. And then everything will be fine. If they work more, quicker, and longer, we'll be fine. It's not if we fix the healthcare system. Instead of fixing the healthcare system, what did they do? They fucking took your healthcare away. They fucked your healthcare up. They took your credits away and fucked healthcare up even more. Nope, can't fix the fucking rich pieces of shit. And like I said, the average person feels like you're not lazy. Like, I want you to understand this. You're not lazy. Life, 40% of job postings are fake, guys. There's not all... They tell you to work harder. They tell you to go get a better job. Most of those better jobs, they're not out there. They tell you to go get in debt quick out of student loans. And then those jobs you go get in debt for out of student loans, guess what? They're not out there. I showed you that stat the other week. It was like 30% of people that went to school were in the field that they went to school for. And then 70%, as you see, can't pay it back because they're not in the job that they're in. They're in some trash job. It's not anything you guys are doing. Never feel bad about your situation. You're in a fucking rigged game where these guys can do things you can't even dream of. These guys are they don't live off money. They live off loans. And the loan difference between you and them, they go get a loan and they pay 0.1% You go get a loan and you're paying 6.5%, 7%. Some of you guys have what, 18, 20% credit cards? They have 0.01 because there's zero risk. They live in a whole fucking new world, a whole new life, dude. They didn't get rich because they were smart. They got rich because they got government grants and who they knew. So their companies, again, just like Trump, Barron fucking Jr., whatever, or Donald Trump Jr.'s company, that drone stock just got $50 million or $300 million or whatever. What the fuck did he give him? Hold on, let's find out how much he gave him. Quick $350 million, just $350 million loan or grant. Quick, popping on over to his kids. See, they get to use taxpayer money and live on taxpayer dimes, while you have to live on your dime while giving them 36% of your income after all taxes and everything, and then pay taxes on the shit you buy. If you own property, you gotta pay fucking taxes on that. It's like I said, dude. They revolted when we paid 3% taxes. We pay 36% taxes and no one gives a fuck. We just, like George Carlin says, man, we just sit there and tell billionaires to help us. Like no one, they're not coming to save. You're never gonna have a grasshopper save you. And why do I always say the bring up the Bug's Life? The Bug's Life is people think it's a child's movie. In reality, it's literally America right now. You have fucking 1,000 grasshoppers that decide everything, tell you guys to do everything, tell you that your wages. Think about this, dude. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Hold on. I'll find it in 2 seconds. I just posted about this shit. Look at this. And then pieces of shit like this guy. Logan Paul is the biggest fucking criminal, and he's just walking the streets and no one gives a shit. This dude's a fucking piece of trash. This is the biggest fucking con man I've ever seen. If you didn't hear what happened with this Pokemon card again, he sold stakes to this Pokemon card for like $2.2 million. These guys were all supposed to make like 3 times their money. And again, after his Zootopia scam, the other fucking 4 scams, his other scam company, how then he buys a fucking grading company, scams his Pokemon Pikachu card from an 8 to a 10 so he can sell it for $16 million. Fucking scammer. This dude's a piece of shit. But anyways, let's go back down. Hold on. That's not what I was trying to find. Here you go. See us? We slipped into our lowest rank ever in the global corruption index. Yay us. We're literally corrupter than fuck. 83,000 manufacturing jobs are gone since Trump promised that he would go ahead and fix manufacturing. Here it is. Right? No. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to. So, they're lowering the minimum wages in a couple states. They're lowering them. Yeah, you heard that, right? They're lowering them. So every time that they lower these minimum wages, it lowers wages, guys. Told you guys that forever. They convinced the population that it's bad to have people who work at fast food be able to earn a living. I'm telling you right now, if you work in any of those fast food restaurants and that shit gets fucking crazy, it is nuts, dude. It is not an easy job. So everyone that wanted to just tell these people lazy and shit, dude, go work in those things for some of those things during rush, it's unreal, man. But they wanted to convince you that those people were so lazy that they can't raise minimum wage. They can't raise minimum wage. If you raise minimum wage, those fucking lazy people aren't going to have any incentives to get better jobs. Just keep calling them lazy pieces of shit and then take away all their benefits. They're trash. They convince you poor people are always the problem. See, it's always poor people that are the problem. Meanwhile, their profits, as they were telling you, trash, poor people are the problem, their profits jump up to 43%. And now that they're at the highest profits in history, these guys are at the highest profits in history. They can't afford to, like I said, they can't afford to raise minimum wages. They got to lower them. It's fucking unreal, dude. Like I said, like George Carlin says, dude, they got you guys by the balls. They got us all in a system that is meant to fucking punish you for being good. I mean, think about this. Truly think about this. Just think about this right now. I don't care if you're talking politicians, anything. Who right now is rich in society? Who right now is successful in society, in American standards today? Would you consider a blue collar people successful? Do you think that they have money in the bank, they have their loans paid off, or do you think it's good people that give a shit, good hardworking Americans? No, it's not. It's criminals. It's everyone doing Ponzi schemes. It's con men. It's fucking congressmen. It's crypto scammers. And why? Because none of them get punished. Now watch this. I watch how fucking insane this is. Speaking of crypto scammers and all of this shit, look at this. This alone is. He should have been impeached. He should have been in prison. Where the fuck is it? I closed it. Here, hold on. Let me. Here, hold on. Let me just pull it up. I'll just Google it and find it. Here you go. Okay, here you go. This is to prove my point with corruption. You guys remember that fucking piece of shit Binance CEO who's a fucking criminal and went to jail, and then nobody could figure out why, but suddenly Trump pardoned him? Listen to this. So these people are doing an investigation on crypto and stuff like that, and they're pulling up wallets, and they find a wallet, and this wallet has 87% of USD1 coin, okay? This wallet has 4.7 billion out of the 5 billion supply of Binance of this wallet. Binance controls the wallet. Donald Trump pardoned this criminal, and then his company bought 87% of his crypto currency, his stable coin. They went and bought his fucking stable coin, his WLF fucking coin, and now they're holding 4.7 billion of it. And now Trump can take out loans on $4.7 billion. Corruption. He pardons this guy, and then his company buys 4.7 billion of Trump's coin. What are we doing? What are we doing? These headlines, these things these guys do, shit like this. This is something that when your parents were growing up would have been on every headline, and this guy would have been in prison and fucking executed like he should be. All of these, at this point, all of these guys are. These guys have stolen trillions. There's nothing. You don't need to go to prison at this point. You need public legal executions. Every one of you. Why do taxpayers need to pay for you now to go live in prison? You've already spent you spent trillions of their money already. You've stolen trillions of money and funneled it offshore. Like I said, at this point, America, that's it, man. But we at some point, how do you vote? Let me ask you this question. How do you vote out of this? Let's say you vote in somebody who's, I'm going to fuck it all up, and he gets into presidency. They're not going to let him do anything. They're not going to let him pass anything or do anything. He can executive order shit. There's a lot of stuff. He can start doing a lot of stuff, but then he's just going to get JFK'd the next day. One person, 2 people, 3 people, when they come into it, I'm going to go fix politics. Guess what? By year 3, they're broken down and corrupt because they realize I put a bill in and it just gets turned down. I know how to fix this, and I tell people, and no one wants to hear it. I tell these people how to fix this, but they're getting dark money donations, so they don't give a fuck. Thomas Massey writes a law. A law, not a fucking suggestion. It was a law. Jeffrey Epstein files were supposed to release everything, unredacted, unless it was a victim. 70% of these files are redacted. People that aren't victims are redacted. People that have committed crimes are redacted. The other thing that she says, so today they come out and say we're not going to release any more of the files. If you guys were listening to the Doge 6 months ago, they said we have go ahead and Google this. Go ahead and look it up. We have approximately 6 million files. 6 million, maybe a little more. Word for word. Then Pam Bondi comes out and says, we've released 3 million files. We've released everything we have and nothing else will come out. What the fuck was on the 3 million files that she's lying about that they still have that they didn't fucking release? You know what I mean? What was on those ones? Can you imagine? So the 3 million ones that we really wanted to see, no, we're done. Sorry. Oh, yeah. What is it, 6 fucking million? Here. Did the Doge. Here you go. Did the Doge have 6 million files? Yes, the Department of Justice have identified more than 6 million pages. 6 million. But today she says we released every single one and they've let out 3.5 million. So 2.5 million pages. They're just like, fuck you. Fuck the law. We don't care. You're not going to do anything. Nothing's going to happen to me because Donald Trump's just going to pardon me. I don't give a fuck. People don't understand why he's paying Bondi not give a shit. Because he's going to pardon her. She'll break every fucking law known to man. And she'll just keep telling these guys in every deposition, stick it up your ass. I don't have to say a thing. I don't give a fuck. And they're just going to pardon her in 6 months. He's going to pardon. If you don't believe me on the corruption in this administration, watch how many pardons come out a month before midterm. Just watch it. It's going to be unreal. It's going to be an unreal amount of pardons right before midterms. Just in case. But that's the problem. These guys all have the oversight. This motherfucker right here, like I said, here he is. That's the fucking piece of shit. Holds 80% of Trump's coins now. I'll pardon you and you just buy my major stable coin. No big deal. 4 billion of it. No big deal. Fucking scam, bro. Like I said, this shit's all a fucking joke, dude. You pay for pardons now. We pay to get off the island. Okay. J.D. Vance, not even 4 years ago when we all first started the AMC saga, he's literally talking the same shit. Well, now this is what's crazy, okay? I want you guys to just watch this for 2 seconds. I'm not going to get super into this shit because it's just fucking, like, disgusting as fuck, but I'm just going to show you. So, he goes, what possible interest would the U.S. government have in keeping the Epstein file secret? So for last 4 years, he's been fucking release it all. They're all pedos. Then he joins, touches the wall, gets blackmailed, and here you are. Now, back to this. The reason I wanted to bring this post up is the original post that he was commenting on is this news article. Click on the news article. It's pretty interesting here. If you just scroll down to the bottom, or just a little bit down here, it says, Maxwell's little black book to remain secret in court deal. Now, here's something I want you to understand and I want you to listen to, especially if you're Republican. In 2008, Jeffrey Epstein basically got caught, was in trial, blah, blah, blah. Well, when he was at that time, when it was all going on, president was Bush. Bush's Doge gave Jeffrey Epstein the plea deal when he had him dead to rights. I want you to listen to this. After he gave him the plea deal, he ends up saying, I want your contact books. We still haven't gotten hers. So he says, I want your contact books. And if you read towards the bottom, there was some information that came out during the court case. They were allowed to see a couple pages. On those pages, if you read here, in association, on the page that was seen, was the Duke of York, which we now found out was Prince Andrews, who just got kicked out of the fucking royalties because he's a pedophile and was guilty. It talks about Les Wexner guess what? We just found out the other day about Lex Wessner's role in all of this and how he's a fucking petter over there. Bill Clinton. Well, guess what? Every Democrat or Republican say, well, there's Clinton. You're right. He was in the files. Guess what? That's another name. So now they're 3 out of 3. So they're 3 for 3. And then we find out the FBI had 1,000 agents scrub Trump's name for months. And guess who else is named in this lawsuit? Donald Trump. 4 for 4. So the things that really implicated them, the 35 witnesses and the juries who saw this mentioned these fucking names later on, or we would have never even known about those. Turns out all this week was proven to be true. Now, you could be a pro-Trumper all you want, but the fact of the matter is let me ask you one question. If you were innocent, why did 1,000 FBI agents spend months? Now listen, this is important for you to listen to. Not scrubbing victims' names. Now listen, because this all matters and all comes into the end here. They didn't spend a name scrubbing victims' names. They spent months scrubbing Trump's name. Now, during that time of scrubbing Trump's name, that's when Thomas's Law went into place. So the time that they were supposed to legally be spending scrubbing victims' names, they were spending scrubbing his. Now, they ended up turning in these files 35 days later. Why? Because they were rushing to finally scrub the victim's name in. Why did they need months to scrub his name? That's my question to you. If he's innocent, if you're innocent, let me explain this to you. It's very simple. If I'm innocent and I'm in a file, okay, and the file says my name and it says what I'm accused of, and it says it in the files, okay, it says it's right. Brian was accused of smoking weed, and I never smoked weed in my life. I would love for you to go ahead and say, Brian smoked weed, and here's our evidence, and here's what he said, and here's where the evidence, and here's where it went. Why would I want that redacted? It clears my name. So, if there's nothing to hide, why is he getting redacted everywhere? Why is he spending that much time redacting it? If it clears his name, why wouldn't you just let it say your name on what they said you did and then show how you didn't do it? It's that simple. It's that simple. Why are all the rich fuckers crossed off? Bill Gates, I mean, that was the craziest email. And okay, so I showed you guys that interview with his wife. This guy needs to go into prison. He's a fucking pedophile. He's a rapist. He's a fucking piece of shit to humanity. He's trying to fucking put vaccines in mosquitoes and shit and just not even let us know and just fucking vaccinate us. And if you didn't read those pandemic emails on the Epstein, from fucking the Epstein files, if you didn't read those pandemic emails, you really should. It's pretty fucking eye-opening. If you didn't read those pandemic emails, you really should. They were talking about the pandemic and what to do, how to execute it. He said, I hope we can pull this off. He talked about involving the WHO, the World Health Organization, and right after COVID comes out, just saying, you guys, like, there's shit where you really need to look at this stuff where it's like, whoa. Like, how the fuck is Epstein talking about vaccines and a pandemic and hoping he could pull it off and getting a hold of the WHO and all that? Like, there's some shit in there you guys really need to fucking look at. Like, these Epstein files, there's a lot more going in there than, like, I think they understand they released, dude. But, again, they're all going to sit there, and every single one of them, that's in it's just going to keep doing this. Well, you were in there. Well, you were in there. Well, they said I didn't do anything. Let me ask you something. Does anyone give a shit if the FBI clears anyone at this point? If the FBI says this rich fucking guy wasn't on the Epstein files, does that mean you're going to believe him when he was proven to be in the Epstein files? Like I said at this point, it's like, does the FBI's fucking matter? It's just a corrupt piece of shit that just protects. Well, people will believe it if the FBI says that that he didn't do anything, and then you find out And then 3 weeks later, they go to court and they get sued civilly for what they would have gotten sued for, and prosecuted for. But now they get sued by the victims, and then they just pay the victims a couple $1,000,000 and no one goes to prison. That's my point. These guys can do whatever, whenever. They don't give a fuck who knows. They're all fucking complicit. They're all fucking jokes. They're all fucking trash. They're all fucking pedophiles. They're all breaking the law. I told you guys this day one. Like, there's no bigger terrorist organization in the world than JP Morgan. Nobody believed me. Everyone's like, oh, whatever. There's no Jeffrey Epstein without JP Morgan Chase. 90% of the crime in the world, the financial world, if JP Morgan didn't exist, wouldn't happen. JP Morgan is the biggest. They are fucking a terrorist organization. They have funded terrorists. They've gotten caught funding cartel, drug lords. They don't give a fuck. They let all of these people run money. They flagged Jeffrey Epstein for 1.5 years. And do you want to know what happened when they flagged Jeffrey Epstein after 1.5 years? Here's what happened. I'll show you right now. Here's what happened after they flagged him. This guy right here. Watch this. Leon Black. Watch this. Leon Black happens. So Leon Black gets involved and he starts raping girls. Instead of going after Jeff, he starts going to the island and fucking all the children with him because Leon Black needs prison. He needs fucking prison more than anybody. This dude's a fucking pedo-ass rapist piece of trash. If you don't believe me, ask the Virgin Islands. So when they find out about this guy, the Virgin Islands is going to prosecute him because they find out without this guy, Jeffrey Epstein couldn't do any of this shit. He was the one letting them get fucking the funding for the island, for the airports, for his airplanes. He's visiting the island left and right. He's hanging out days on end. Piece of human shit. But he's a billionaire. So when you're a billionaire, you just pay fucking $62 million. He pays the Virgin Islands. Listen to how fucked up this is. They go, all right, you give me, the Virgin Islands say, instead of us prosecuting you, because we got you dead to rights, I have you dead to rights, you're fucked. He goes, no. What's it going to cost to go away? He pays him $63 million, $62.5 million. Then he's removed from the lawsuit. And then he pays this chick out later on. How is that possible? And this is in the open. This is all in the open. This is public knowledge that he was accused of sex trafficking minors. He was accused of funding them. And in 2021, I said, Epstein is just a fucking partner. The true mastermind criminals are at JP Morgan because they funded it all. This piece of shit just pays a quick little payout because he's a rich fucking cocksucker and keeps doing it. He's probably doing it to this day. Here's this thing I want people to listen to because everybody thinks, oh man, fucking all the islands are done. There's no more islands. It's all done because Jeffrey's dead. Do you guys remember Kurt Cobain? Do you guys remember what Kurt Cobain talked about right before he died? Do you guys remember what Kurt Cobain was talking about? Some of you are probably too young to remember. So if you didn't know the story about how he committed suicide, because everyone who ends up talking out about this shit commits suicide, how his suicide happened is they said that he had enough heroin in his system to kill him 150 times over. Like, it was unreal. Like, they basically said he bought a rock of heroin and fucking somehow put this entire fucking thing in there. I don't know. I don't know if heroin's a rock. I don't know anything about it. But they said he basically put a giant, think of like a turkey baster fucking syringe, and he put the whole turkey baster in his fucking arm. He had so much, you couldn't fucking comprehend what the hell's going on. You would have just died. And then after he had all of this heroin in him, apparently he had the functionality to get up, get a shotgun, and shoot himself. What? So before this all happens, He's talking about a certain island called Vashon Island. Vashon. Look it up. Vashon Island rapes. Just Google Vashon Island rape. You're gonna see cases, unbelievable amount of cases. He's on an interview talking about this girl who's suddenly missing, and he's talking about, yeah, she's on Vashon Island. I can hear her fucking screams out my window. She's getting raped by these fucking people. There's more than one island, folks. There's more than one island, folks. So, why these pieces of shit just pay out fucking... Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Watch this, watch this, watch this. See, I know too much. Like, this is my problem. I look at criminality shit all fucking day, and I just hate them all. Because they're all fucking pieces of shit. Like, they do such vile, unbelievable fucking stuff, and no one bats an eye. It's unreal. It's unreal, dude. Watch this. JP. So, watch this timeline. This is unbelievable. Okay? Watch this shit. So, hold on. Let me show you Biden's corruption, because Biden's in on it. Biden. Visits. Okay? Now watch this. Hold on, I'm trying to think of the day. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. Virgin Islands gets fired. I think that was in 2023. Okay. 2023. Timeline. Okay, pull this up. Hold on 2 seconds. Yeah, click there. Okay. So, here you go. Okay. Now, I want you guys to read this. Watch this. Watch how fucking crazy this is, okay? I want you to watch this. I showed this at the time that this happened. So, this is the exact timeline. The Virgin Island Attorney General announces that she is going to prosecute JP Morgan Chase criminally. She's going to prosecute... There was like 7 of their fucking executives. She was going to prosecute all these other people. And it was in November. Okay? So November comes out. She says, I'm going after these fucking criminals. Okay? December comes. She starts, drafting it all up, getting ready. She's like, all right, we're gonna give it to the court here. Now it's December, okay? Now the timeline, you're around December 20th, okay? She comes out and she goes, December 20th, she says, I'm going to go after these fuckers. I'm basically done. We're going to be in court real soon. Okay? Now, what happens, and I posted this that day, Joe Biden, on the 27th, so it's like the 25th, it gets into the court system. It's starting to get ready to go. It's ready to rock. It's now the 25th. December 25th, look it up. They're starting to go to court. They're about to go to court, okay? It's about to get accepted to go into court. It's all that. The 27th, 2 days after it's going into the court system, it's about to get accepted, Joe Biden flies out there, okay, and says he's going on vacation in the Virgin Islands. Reports are he met with people at the Virgin Islands in the fucking, they're like ambassador fucking place. So now he's meeting with the head of the Virgin Islands. Why are you doing that on vacation? I was showing you guys all that. Why is he meeting with these people on vacation? Oh, because right after he flies back, guess what happens the very next week? So he's there from the 27th. He leaves on the 1st, okay? So he leaves on the 1st. Right after he left, look what happened. The attorney general that was prosecuting them, the next day he leaves, they fired her. All cases were dropped. Okay? All cases were dropped. Then what happens? 1 month later, what happens? Watch this. Right there. Sorry. 4 months later. In June. Well, no, whatever. In June, instead of getting criminally charged, JP Morgan just goes to a civil lawsuit now because they fired the attorney general that had him dead to rights. After Biden made a quick stop in the Virgin Islands, the next day she gets fired, the case gets dropped, and they go to solve it, and they pay a settlement with the victims because they did everything they were accused of. You guys saw the timeline in front of your eyes. They were about to get prosecuted in November. She announces it. December, she brings it into the courts. The 25th, it's about to get accepted and go into the system. The 27th, Joe Biden flies out there till he leaves on the 1st. It was like on the 3rd, she gets fired. The case is dropped. A few months later, they settle out of court in a civil lawsuit. They pay off all the victims, $290 million. Nobody goes to prison. Nobody gets in trouble. And if you go to this, watch this. If you go to violation tracker, if you go to, where is the JP Morgan Chase? If you go to violation tracker, go to JP Morgan Chase, click on the year, go to 20. Wow, they changed it. Here, hold on. Here you go. Click on the violation tracker. JP Morgan Chase. What were they charged with? Look at how funny this is. They were charged with sexual exploitations of minors. But what I was talking about, how funny this is this used to be what they were charged with, okay? This website suddenly changed it to a banking violation. So it used to say sexual exploitation of minors right here. I bet you JP Morgan Chase made a phone call because now it says banking violation, which it wasn't. And then if you click on it, they moved the offense of sexual exploitation of minors to secondary offense. And they did this recently. This was in the last month. So when all the Epstein stuff actually started coming out, because look at, I can pull, I could literally find this on my timeline and show you that it said sexual exploitation of minors for years. And it just, now that Epstein got all this, he's back in coverage, suddenly they changed it to a secondary offense. And it's no longer listed right here, so you don't click on it. They changed it to banking violation. How fucking, like I said, look at how funny. There's your corruption right there. They make one phone call and they tell them to change it. Change it or we'll sue you. Don't tell people the fucking truth. Put banking violation, then tell them the truth if they click on it. But we know too many people are lazy and aren't going to click on it. And if you want to look at the documents and the data and everything and all the information on and all the facts, you can click on all this stuff. Well, I guess you got to fucking log in, of course. What's my computer doing, bro? Damn, everything just closed out. I don't know if my stream's still going. Hold on, I got Steve. Chat, can you hear me? Chat, am I still here? Hold on. Chat, are we still here? I don't know if we're still here, chat. Chat, if you can hear me, somebody type something into the chat bar. I don't know if you guys can hear me or if my stream just crashed on my computer. I think I'm crashed out. Oh, Charles, there we go. Still here. We're good. All right, sorry, everybody. I had a hard crash out. I don't know what the hell that was. All right, so, but back to this. What were we just... Oh, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, these fuckers, every time they can commit crimes, all they need to do is just pay a small fee to bribe some fucking judge in some court case. And then they get out of, like I said, it's just get out of jail free. And then their other get out of jail free, I showed you guys, is that fucking acceptance, waiver, and consent. It's to stay out of the court system. Yay, we're back. So it's like I said, guys, everything I'm showing you guys, learning over the years, it's like, I used to think this was going to be, like I said, guys, we're going to have to strap the fucking, because they're prepared to take the shit and burn it to the ground and go down with the flames. And when they do, to make sure you're prepared, the only way out for them was to, again, let a Moass happen, because your economy is so shitty you needed to revitalize your middle class and lower class, but you need to do it in a way where you can disguise the fact that you were doing all this crime. Well, think about it. How can you do that? Well, the people that were paying attention in the stock market, well, if we let them win, if we let them Moass, they'll have money to go back to shopping in our stores and our economy will recover. Every one of them, well, they'll just call them conspiracy theories, and even though the fact that they have the money in their account and they were right, we can spin it because we control the media, and we could just say they're fucking dumbasses, and Mega will listen. That's the thing. The shit is right in front of their face, and all he needs to do is say, nope, that's wrong. Nope, that's wrong. Like I said, right here. Here's your proof. They're naked shorting everything. Stocks everywhere, world fucking wide. This is a strategy. People sit there and be like, so this is something I want you to understand. Like, if you're listening, you're a Republican, you think like, oh, billionaires are great. How are they great? They don't create jobs. They destroy jobs. How? Well, let's sit here and think about this. They have massive companies. They move it into a town. They pay the workers shit, but guess what? Their prices are lower because they owe everything. So guess what? They kill every single job around it. Now you have to work at the big company, or nothing else is around, or fast food. And that's what I'm saying. Billionaires do not create jobs. They destroy jobs. They come in, they destroy a city, and they make everybody. Perfect example, man. There's this, my fiance, her family lives in Moose Lake. I guess I don't really care if I give out cities and shit. We live in Moose Lake, and it's an up north town. Like, it's a pretty small town, but like, it functioned enough to where there was enough people to where you used to have like a grocery store, you used to have, all your amenities. You had like a Walgreens, you had all those things. You had more than, one or two, you had like 5, maybe 6 fast food places. Well, just like always, a big ass company moves in, and right now up there you have Dairy Queen, because the other fast food places all died off. Walgreens is dead because the place has a pharmacy. Well, it's Walmart. I guess I don't care if I say the name. It's just Walmart moved in and basically fucking killed everything. I mean, everything. And now every single person that lives in Moose Lake pretty much works up there. You work up there, or you work in like the touristy shop shit, where you're gonna make like 15 and not minimum wage selling fucking knickknacks to tourists. But that's my point. They don't come in and create jobs. They come in and what they do is they come in an area, they destroy jobs, but then they set the wage market, because now that they have no competition, they don't pay well. And now everywhere else doesn't pay well. That's what they do. They make you work for them or no one else. And then anytime another guy, he's like, well, why don't you just start up a company yourself? Sure, you could. Problem is the second you get a company that's maybe has potential, starts getting ahead, starts getting super hard, you go on their radar. And then what happens? They'll bash your company and short and distort it. And they'll make sure you're no longer successful. They'll bash the fuck out of your product. They use the media that they own. They bash your product, so you have to do what? Go get a loan from them. But they're not going to ask you for shares or loans in money. They're going to want shares in return. Fuck the loan. Just give us shares. Just go public. And now we own your ass because you're in the stock market. And we can short, distort, and take it away. That's why, exactly like he said, the American dream. They call it the American dream, George Carlin says, because you have to be asleep to believe it. Because for you to become one of those billionaires, it's literally impossible. Because once you start getting on that path, they'll take your shit. They'll take your patents, and they will own your ass. And that is why I sit there and I'm telling you guys, pay attention to Ken Griffin. Pay attention to this. This is a bigger deal than you guys fucking think. When you're a $1 billion company, and you're just making hand and fist money and hand and fist on cash, why are you for 3 straight years taking billion-dollar loans out? Why are you selling bonds when these guys can literally take your company? You don't sell bonds. You don't give out portions of your fucking company like he did to Saskatchewan and them. You don't do that unless you have to. He took a 44% loss on an apartment complex or a condo thing he was building. You don't take 44% losses unless you need the money or need to get the fuck out quick. People are starting to, around the world, realize just how fucking corrupt Citadel is. And again, they are going to continuously kick these fuckers out of there and clamp down on their profits. And Citadel, and we showed you guys just how delicate Citadel really is. Because in 2001, people don't understand. They couldn't not. It's not only that they couldn't afford the margin fees that we were doing, the margins that we were doing. They couldn't afford the fees that Rob. Think about this. They couldn't afford the fees that Robinhood was charging them on payment for order flow. They couldn't afford it. That's why they had to shut the buy button off. They couldn't afford the fees. They don't. They might have. See, the thing is Citadel is just like Nvidia. Their losses, I showed you guys how they're round tripping. Nvidia is the biggest scam in the world. Nvidia is cooking their books more than anybody I've ever seen. I mean, they're doing it by the billions and billions, and that's why you see their stock fuck it. And eventually it's going to catch up to them, and guess what? When that plummet happens, I've told you guys forever, they're all what? Sitting on the same hill. Nvidia is their #1 collateral right now. So when that keeps going down, when margin keeps going up, and ISDA keeps running into problems, that's when eventually they cannot hide this. But again, the fact that they were so... Look at... Again, if you missed this in the beginning, listen to this. In ISDA, in the swaps that I showed you guys in 2021, they've done nothing but up. They said that they were panicking and afraid that these ISDA swaps would come out because our largest banks and financial firms have taken on massive positions, many of which have gone bad, that their ability to absorb losses in equity capital was razor thin. This is why I told you guys, everyone, take your money out of the banks. It's more important than you think. Get out of JP Morgan. Get out of Goldman. Get out of all of those big name fucking banks. Get out of them and go to a local credit union. When you go to that credit union, do research on what they make money on. It's very easy. You walk in, just say, I want to speak to a branch manager. He's going to talk to you for 15 minutes. That 15 minutes is worth it. Because if they make their money on loans, and they make their major money on that, you're going into a risky credit union and go to a different one. When they say, how do you guys make your money? If he says we make it mostly in bond interest and treasuries and things like that, you're good to go. Why do you do a credit union? Again, they will give you a better rate than any major bank on every loan. On top of that, that interest rate that you make at JP Morgan Chase of 0.01% will jump up to 1.7 to 3%, to where you're suddenly keeping up with inflation. You don't need as good of a credit score to get a loan there as well. And on top of that, they are the only type of companies that are they are basically owned by the people that invest in them. That's who they care about. You're pretty much the shareholder, the stockholder, everything of that credit union. They actually care about their members because they need them. Again, they don't have the risk when this blows up. Your local mom and pop bank doesn't have billions and trillions of dollars in derivatives. They don't have a single fucking penny in derivatives. They're not in ISDA. They don't qualify. So when it blows up, they're not going to go under. when it blows up and people start to panic and take their money out of the banks. No one's going to panic at a credit union because it's all backed, because it's middle and lower class. None of them have over 250,000. So none of them care about losing it because it's all insured. There's no risk. They're not going to run away or move their money like they will at a major bank. FDIC is broke. They already showed you they were broke. They can't handle the collapse. If you're in an FDIC backed bank, your money will be gone. I promise you that. These guys are going to fucking short. They're going to keep paying off bribes. They're going to keep stealing from the American people until the day we fucking say enough. And we run on the banks or we do it the other way. That is pretty much where this is going to. Other people, other nations, I've showed you guys other countries are seeing this. Look at China. China is dumping the living shit out of U.S. treasuries. U.S. treasuries around the market, people aren't holding them. They're buying gold, like I showed you. Because gold, U.S. treasuries used to be the most secured asset in the world. Now people are selling them because the most secured asset's pretty much gold. Because when all of these currencies fail, because all of these currencies will fail, they will all need to start over, and they will all need to buy the shit out of gold and get a gold-backed currency. China, look at China right now. Look at China right now. China is stockpiling gold like you've never seen. They're fucking just buying the living shit out of it as fast as they can get their hands on it. So I'm saying, everybody who bought AG stock, everybody who followed me into these silver plays, we're holding steady at $76, $78, $80. I told you I don't think we'd ever dip below 70 again. You're finding a bottom. I don't think silver and gold even came close to its all-time high. Not even fucking close to its all-time high. Again, there is 4-to-1. Listen to me. There is 4-to-1 paper contracts. There's 400-to-1 paper contracts to actual silver. Paper contracts eventually need to get bought. Sweet. Again, all of these silver miners, when it comes to AG stock, if you bought AG stock and you bought those options, this is why I told you to get them 3 months out. Why I told you to get them in the money. Less theta decay, more delta, so when it does go back, you recover faster. This is why, like I said, give yourself 3 months. AG stock, we have our earnings report in 3 days. I expect their profitability to be over $80 to $90 million. It could easily be in the $100 million. They were about 42.6 million in profit when it was $30 for silver. $30 for silver. I expect these next 2 quarters, like I said, their profitability is going to, they only have 250 million in debt. They're going to be able to pay their debt off in the next month by the Q3 to Q4 if that's what their goal is. They said that they want to do some upgrades, but they also said that all the money that they make will pay for the upgrades, and they're not going to dilute their stuff. Like I said, everything for these silver mining stocks, I love them. I think they're lagging still. I think silver's, like I said, it's not done. It's not even close to done. It's not even close. So if you're holding it right now, like I said, I'm not panicking on any of those plays. I'm not even looking at them right now. I don't give a fuck. They'll be exactly where I need them to be when the time comes. Silver in the next month or two, I believe, will be easily back in the hundreds. Like, it's going to be very, very, very nice to be a silver owner again soon. But like I said, guys, at this point, these fuckers, everything we said, we've got the data, we got the numbers, we got the proof. They're at 1.2 trillion in margin. I mean, think about that number. If you're losing faith, they're at 1.12 trillion in margin. How much longer can they keep writing it and throwing it in ISDA? Again, I showed you guys, ISDA is so fucked that when they can't push it back, here you go. ISDA is so fucked There's beyond trillions, and they write with a capital T. Yes, trillions of dollars in bad losses. Trillions. They're so bad that the rule, again, that was written in 2019 and was supposed to go into effect in 2019, but we made them add so many more swaps to the already trillions and trillions of swaps that were already in there, because with the meme stock, they had to do trillion. I mean, I can't even imagine how many fucking, over the last 5 years, how much the true number of these contracts value that have been pushed into ISDA on all of these meme stocks. I can't even imagine. GameStop, AMC, COS, all those fucking meme stocks, dude. How many of those added up? Oh my god, I can't even imagine. Have been pushed into there. You can see right here, even off just here. You can see right off here. In 2021, when it started exploding, and I showed you guys, it was $80 trillion worth. In 2021, they wrote off what? Fuck is that? Hold on. 200 what was that? 260, like 275? 275-ish, I'd say, around. 275. What's that going to be? Billion? No, that'd be more than that. Yeah, $275 billion. They wrote $275 billion in ISDA contracts and moved it into the derivatives right after they were about to get margin called a fucking GIN, dude. That's crazy. They had 287 billion more that they moved in after we had them fucking caught again, dude. Look at that. It's right in front of your face. That's crazy. I gotta see something quick. Jesus Christ. Look at this. That 1.4 trillion they cleared in government in these contracts. What in the Hold on a second. What the fuck? Non-cleared margin, $462 billion is what they put away to hide it from us. This, first of all, what the fuck? You should not have more non-cleared margin than you have cleared margin, first of all. So 570, what is that? So that's what? 160 fucking $1 trillion was added to the fucking $161 trillion in 2023 was added to the derivatives value. Fuck are we even doing, dude? Oh, it's notional value. Who cares? That just means all of it combined it up, and the value of the bets and everything equal that. Okay, so the collateral for 573.7 trillion would be what? Even if it's like 5%. You're telling me they got $18 trillion sitting around in margin, sitting around in these guys in these funds? I don't think so. Like I told you guys, all the fucking bodies are buried right here. When it gets too crazy for all these markets, this is why. See, I told you guys forever. I'm like, God, Phase 6 is gonna fuck them up, and I couldn't understand why the fuck didn't it? Because Phase 6. So, like I told you guys, this is how is this so fucked up. This is how it's so corrupt. Let's say I'm about to get margin called by SEC's coming, right? So this is what happens. Let's say the SEC's coming, I'm about to get margined, and I'm screwed. I'm completely screwed, right? What they'll do is they'll run over, they'll call up their little buddy, their little banking friend, and they'll say, I need you guys to write me an ISDA contract for shares of XXY, blah, blah, blah. And then they write up this contract, right? So that guy will call that bank, and he'll say, let's say the value, he'll say, I need let's say X. Let's say you're taking out $1 billion. I'm trying to do math quick for you guys so it's easier. So let's say you're taking out like $1 billion, right? In stock X, Y, and Z, so you can cover all your stuff. Well, that banker is going to look at you and say, okay, for this, what I'm going to do is I need you to write a credit support annex. Okay, you're going to write a report that shows me all your collateral, and I'm just going to look at your report and say you got it. You don't have to deposit that collateral, but you need to show me that you have this collateral, and if the loan fails, I get that collateral. Okay, so that's what was going on. And then what's supposed to happen is a person at the bank who's writing the ISTA contract is supposed to go to the company, go into their system, verify that they have that collateral to put down, and they don't do that. They don't give a fuck. The banker just says, what do you need, buddy? Okay, I'll give you that, but I'm going to charge you an interest rate. And you just pay me the interest rate, and we'll make this fucking ISTA contract go till 2065. I don't give a shit. But you're going to pay me an interest rate the whole time. Sure, okay, good. I'd rather I'll pay you an interest rate instead of getting margin called and have my company go down. So they don't have to put their collateral up. They write these credit support actions to verify that they had them, and that was it. And then it was up to the banker to decide to double check that they had the collateral or not. And again, that's what happened with Bill Huang's company, that family office that blew up. None of the 10 banks that he went to verified he had the information. They just gave him the fucking loan because he had the report written up for him. Here, I got it right here. Oh, okay. I'm not going to verify you have it. I'm just going to take your word for it. Okay. Just keep paying me my interest fee because I don't care. I just want my money. So, like I said, it's like, I can't even imagine. So if you have 462 billion initial margin non-cleared, that means you have all of that amount where they just nobody's even cleared it. No one knows it's there. The collateral's not there. They don't even know. They're just they're doing exactly what I fucking just said. Well, when phase 6 happened, what was supposed to happen is when you wrote an ISTA contract, you were supposed to log into their system in ISTA. You wrote the fucking contract. A third party could verify the information, right? A third party was supposed to watch this thing. He was supposed to verify that the collateral was passed on. He was supposed to verify that the collateral was in there. And guess what happened? The third party ended up being another fucking corrupt bank that they write ISTA contracts with all the other guys. They put the guy watching them. It's the guy writing them. It's the same thing. It's the same fucking thing. The people that regulate the stock market all work at a bank. Every fucking one of them work at a bank, and every one of them work at a hedge fund or a market maker. And every one of them are working at the banks and the hedge funds that fucking what? Break the rules and commit the crimes. So then they charge themselves. They charge them so the public knows that they're breaking laws and they're doing their job, so people think the SEC does something. But because they work there, they give them an acceptance waiver and consent and say, don't admit guilt because then we can charge you criminally. Don't say you did anything. Sign my acceptance waiver and consent. Say you didn't fucking do anything and then pay me a quick fee. We just need enough fees to keep the lights on. Because if we collect too many fees, then guess what? We might have a fucking... They say they don't have enough money. Oh, the SEC's broke as shit. They don't have enough money to go after these criminals. Well, of course, if they were properly funded, they could go after the criminals and have no excuse. But why the fuck? Like I said, this whole thing, it's to the point where it's politicians are corrupt, judges are corrupt, regulators are corrupt, the FBI is fucking corrupt, the Doge is fucking corrupt. The stock market's fucking corrupt. The financial system is fucking corrupt. The banking system is fucking corrupt. The tax system is fucking corrupt. And they sit there and tell you the problem is some fucking mom who's working at a fucking fast food place needs SNAP benefits and they're destroying the country. I think AMC squeeze in my opinion, if a Moass did happen, I think it would be a quick, giant jump where you're having fucking circuit breakers fucking hit. You would have big ass jumps, and I don't think it's gonna be days long. I don't think it'd be very long. I think it'd be a day or two because they're gonna reward the people that have been paying attention. They're gonna reward the people that caught them in the act because that will shut them up. But what they're not gonna allow is more people to jump into the stock and keep going while it jumps again and have more introduced to what's happening. They want it to go quick. They'd want it to go pop, pop. Everybody that was in will sell when it hits a giant number. Boom, get out of it, short it back down, and make it, and then they can play it off like it's a squeeze like everything else. Oh, they squeeze the stock, and then that way everybody who is clueless goes on clueless, and they still think, hey, it was just a quick squeeze play. We see those all the time. It happens all the time. Nothing out of the ordinary. So only the people paying attention that know the truth would get their payout. So for their best interest, I feel like it would be a quick just boom, hit some circuit breakers, boom, hit circuit breakers to where it goes up high, fast, hard to where nobody else can buy in. No other of these people are buying in. And then when it jumps up to these prices, they'll make it so people just fucking get out. And then when it starts to get out, they'll have it drop fucking quick. They're gonna make money. They're gonna make it hit a certain thing, and what they'll do is they'll short all of these meme stocks when they know they're ready to call it quit. They'll make a shit ton of money on the way back down, and that's how they'll help absorb themselves to some of these losses, with tons of these losses. But they're not gonna try. It's about controlling the uneducated and about giving the educated just enough to be happy to where they're not going to fight the system or speak out. That is the government's true job. Keep taking advantage of the uneducated and keep on giving people just enough that see what's happening, crumbs so they don't rebel. Crumbs enough to where they don't gather. That's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what is happening in the United States. They sit there and they push. I'm not saying communism's great. Fucking course it's not. It's what we're living. Communism's trash. Socialism's trash. All these fucking things are trash. Because why? They say, well, a certain amount of people get to have all the benefits and then everyone else is poor. Guess what? In America, certain people have all the fucking money and everyone else is poor. The same fucking thing. Guess what? In America, we don't determine the laws. The rich fucking cocksuckers that own all the corporations determine the laws because they have the lobbyists. Think about how fucked up this is. I truly want you to listen to this and think for 1 second how fucked up this is. We elect officials who are supposed to talk for us and have our values, but they don't. So we elect people that don't have our best interests, and then they tell us, well, fucking people, why don't you guys get lobbyists? So then they want us to not only elect people, they want us to now pay lobbyists and pay lobbyist firms to bribe those congressmen that we elect to finally listen to us. That's literally what they say all the time. Your voice is heard by who you vote by. How? If I vote for a criminal Democrat or if I vote for a criminal Republican, how is my voice heard? And then if I have to go pay for a lobbyist to pay that exact faggot politician who I voted for to now listen to me, what are we doing? You are now taxation without representation because I need to now pay my politician to have him represent me, because how can he represent me if he doesn't know what I think? Do you understand how fucked up this country is? Red or blue don't care about your problems. They care about making enough money so your problems don't apply to them. That is it. That is it. Red, blue, green, brown, purple, pink, I don't give a fuck. They're all trash. It's to the point. Our forefathers told us we would get to this point, and it was unsavable. Our forefathers literally said this would be the end of democracy. Google it. Say, what did our forefathers say would be the end of democracy? And it will come up and say banks, politicians, controlling everything, and one day it's people waking up homeless. And here we are. Here you go. The end of democracy. Thomas Jefferson says, the end of democracy, when it will happen. The end of democracy and the defeat of the American Revolution will occur when the government falls into the hands of the lending institutions and monetized corporations. And this is why I'm telling you, the end game is approaching us. It's not, you cannot print yourself out of it. I want people to understand this, the notion that people have this idea that the United States can just print its way out of it. They can make money forever. They can make as much as they want. Okay, great. And then you also kill your own people through inflation. Eventually, inflation gets too much because you have printed too much. Wages are not keeping up with inflation. And eventually, 70 to 80% of your population is homeless. And guess what? They're going to kill all the rich people because that's their only option. Now, again, I'm not advocating that. That's just fucking how it is. That's just common sense. When 27 fucking people own the United States, guess who the entire 3 million people are going to go to first? Why do you think they built their underground bunkers in the last 2 years, you guys? Because they know if they don't let a Moass happen and replenish the fucking... Now, why do I say they have to do a Moass? Think about this, you guys. Let's say they do a stimulus package. They have to announce they're doing a stimulus package. They got to let everyone know what's going on. Then they're going to go ahead and blame inflation on everybody. And now you're going to piss off people who voted for you after you said that you're not going to give out money. And now you might lose votes. And you already can't afford to lose votes. So you can't do a stimulus. Can't do a stimulus package. So what are you going to do? Moass. It's the only way to give your people money. The only way to do it now is through the stock market because, again, 99% of the fucking American population has zero education on how the stock market works. They don't know a fucking thing. They don't care. But guess what else is going to happen? If they let a Moass happen, guess what most of us are going to do? They're going to buy stocks and get back into the market so that money can funnel right back to them. They don't care. They'll get it back eventually. So I said, they either have to Moass because it's going to get so bad from inflation, it's going to get so bad from corruption, it's going to go so bad when you have trillions of dollars funneled into the Virgin Islands that you can't eventually fucking hide. People are going to ask questions, too many questions, and you see when we ask those questions, here you go. You see when we ask the right question. Here was the first time in my life I saw a fucking congressman ask the right fucking question. It blew my fucking mind. And watch his answer.
Sum of money?
Yes, sir.
Where would that be cut from? Let's say for some reason he actually wins that lawsuit. Where would that $10 billion come from?
Again, it would come from...
Process-wise. I'm not asking like your opinion whether it's right or wrong.
Are you looking at this dumb fuck's face when he's saying this?
The general fund?
He's staring at the ground. His eyes are moving to the right over and over and over, which means he's thinking of a lie. And it would come from the taxpayers, duh. But and again, he couldn't even say the fucking taxpayers. He tries to hide it again from the people. Oh, it would come from the Treasury. No, it wouldn't come from the Treasury. It'd come from the Treasury fund, you fucking piece of shit, right? Oh yeah, it'd come from the Treasury fund. Well, who fucking puts money into the Treasury fund? Oh, the taxpayers? Oh yeah, it would come from the taxpayers. Thanks, douchebag. Hey Pam, why are you a pedophile lover? Hey Pam Bondi. Is it because all of them pay you? Is it because they have blackmail on you? Is it because you probably have fucking ate out Donald Trump's asshole? You got a little brown on your nose, fucking Pam, and you got a little Cheeto dust from sucking the bronzer off his cock. Fucking hate these pieces of shit. Like I said, they don't fucking deserve respect. They're fucking trash, dude. American Express gives me 3.3% on my savings. Well, hey, you're above inflation, so that's what you need to do, guys. Stay above inflation all the time. Otherwise, you're losing money. And on top of that, every time they print and devalue the dollar, every time the value goes down of the dollar, guess what? So does technically your pay, and you don't even see it. It's the invisible silence killer. But like I said, you see what happens when you ask these guys the right questions. They don't know what to say because you can't lie your way out of this shit. That's what I'm telling you guys. You can only lie about $1 trillion for so long. These guys are lying about 50 fucking $trillion. We have almost 40 trillion in debt, and people sit there and don't understand what that $40 trillion in debt is from all the corruption every year. They say that $1 trillion a year is gone in corruption. Well, where do you think it goes? The Virgin Islands, into your debt total. It goes to contracts that we can't afford, to rich people that don't need them. It goes to us giving it to weapons and defense contracts so we can kill more people, blow up more places, and say, well, we got to get involved in these wars over here so we can rebuild the country. And then after we rebuild the country and make all that money rebuilding the country, we just blow it up again and make a new reason up for war. You notice how none of the rich people's, none of their children are in any of these wars, but yours are. Funny how that works. Like I said, dude, when they talk about people, like I said, until you understand red or blue don't give a fuck about you, or your problems, just making it so they don't have the same problems as you do. You're never gonna wake up. You will never understand truly how fucking corrupt this shit is. You won't. I mean, look on Twitter. I guarantee if I go on Twitter right now, I take fucking 6 minutes on Twitter. A crime was just committed. Okay? A crime will be committed. People will be talking about it. But what will happen is 90% of the comments, let's say a Republican did it, it will be people talking shit about the Republican Party, and then the other percent will just be them saying, Republicans saying, yeah, but Democrats did this. And it's an excuse for a crime. People care more about what color shirt the fucker has on when he robs the bank than when the fact that he just robbed the fucking bank. It's the craziest shit I have ever seen in my life. Click on the first thing I see. Fucking lie like normal. Classic. But like I said, it's like the problem is there's so much corruption. They hit us with so many massive, insane corruptions at once every day for years and years and years. People don't even know what to believe. Then they introduce AI because people were figuring out and proving too much shit. And now AI will always give them an out. Oh, no, because here's the other thing they're doing. Look at what the Epstein files. People were pulling shit out of the Epstein files and posting it on Twitter. Hey, I can't believe this is here. They showed that dead body. There was a dead body floating in a bathtub. Like I said, I'm not going to pull these things up. They're fucking beyond ridiculously fucking insane. But there was a dead girl in the bathtub. What did they do? People posted the shit out of it, posted the link, click on it, and all of a sudden, oh, they removed it. Donald Trump's name, when they first released the files, was in there like 3,700 times. Suddenly, 2 weeks later, you typed his name in, 700 entries were deleted. Crazy. What they do is, when you find the information about them and the facts and can prove them, they fucking just remove them from the internet, and then they just tell you, everybody, that's an AI image. That's an AI image. That's an AI video. Why isn't it anywhere else? Why didn't the media fucking mention it? You mean the media that you own? The same reason why the media, right here, the same reason why the media who was visiting Epstein Island, and your owner was Giselle's fucking best friend, Ghislaine, or whatever the fucker pedophile trash name is. You were her best fucking friend. And you're writing on how And then you write not even a week ago how it's all a grand conspiracy and the rich people they might have seen it, but they didn't participate. They just saw it happen and didn't say anything. No big deal, guys. Who cares if they saw them fucking kids? Who cares? They didn't do it too. You guys are all just making up the part that they did it too. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here with that shit, dude. So I'm on my rant point of this fucking stream now. I just can't fucking stand the amount of shit that we let these fuckers get away with. And I can't even imagine, like, my child, dude, when he turns like 17, 18, what was he gonna fucking... they're out there buying concentration camps right now. We're literally spending... People were whining, dude, about Snap. And we're spending... what the fuck? It was like $44 billion on fucking... concentration camps here. They're gonna buy warehouses and put them into detention centers, and aka concentration camps here. Hold on, it was like 43 billion or something fucking crazy. 45 billion here. 45 billion, bro. Fuck it. Let's just buy every fucking warehouse we can buy. Turn them into fucking prisons. Who cares, man? We got 50 billion to build concentration camps, but we can't put 50 billion towards homelessness, hunger, people, our middle class, our workers, nothing. But we can buy fucking 45 billion and put fucking these guys in there. Cool. Or just deport them. Fucking crazy thought. Put them in their holding for what? Like I said, why are we holding all these guys so fucking long? If they're gonna go out, get them the fuck out of here. You don't need to buy 45 billion worth of more fucking bullshit, waste more taxpayer money on detention centers. Get them the fuck out of here. It's pretty simple. Like, dude, did we ever? Like I said, this shit's fucking crazy to me. Shit is fucking crazy to me. Why couldn't mess with the child is sick. Anyone that touches a kid, like I said, is fucking the nastiest shit, dude. And it's like, you could tell when somebody doesn't have a child of their own. That's all I have to say. Whenever they talk about stuff like that or anything like that gets brought up, you can instantly tell when someone has a kid or not. It's like, dude, there's nothing worse in the world. There's nothing more fucked up in the world. Nothing. Nothing. There's nothing in the world you could do worse. Murders, I mean, God, I don't even, well, people are going to say maybe murder, but I honestly don't fucking think that because you pretty much you did kill the kid. You killed the kid and they have to live with it the rest of their life. Like I said, shit is just so fucked up, dude. The fact that anyone's telling us to move on. The fact that Trump, I said I fucking can't stand Trump. Too bad that bullet was fake and that was all set up, but it wouldn't have mattered if, anyways, they would just put their next criminal piece of shit in. That's my point. It doesn't matter. We can vote on the next election. We can vote in the next president. He can say all the right things. Look at Trump. He got me. I mean, look at me, you guys. Look at me. I fucking told you how much I hated politicians and all this shit forever. And for the first time in my life, Trump made me fucking almost go out and vote, dude. Nope. I almost did. I was that fucking close because he was talking about, oh, I'm going to take out the swamp. I'm going to fix the 10-year, which if I fix the 10-year treasury notes, that fixes credit card debt, that fixes mortgage auto loan debt. It fixes everything. It fixes the rates to everything. Even your student loans debt goes down. Fixing the 10-year is how you fix the economy. Everybody sits there. It's like, dude, it's so simple. Just go look at the 10-year. Go look when interest rates were at like 0%. The 10-year was down to nothing. They weren't paying shit. And that's what we need. We need the 10-year down. But again, the 10-year is not going to go down because everybody knows America's now a corrupt piece of shit that can't be fixed. So nobody wants our fucking bonds and our treasury notes. Nobody's holding them. Like I showed you with China. They're just getting rid of them. Everybody can see, like I said, we're a ticking time bomb, man. You can't take trillions with the T out of any country and nothing happen. Eventually, you're fucked. And like I said, when you kill off 80% of these jobs in your middle class, what do you think America lived off? Middle class. Your middle class workers. The entire country was built around middle class workers. So if you kill off middle class workers, guess what's going to happen? Your GDP is going to fall and not be able to keep up with your spending. And what are we doing? Like I just showed you. overexpending like fucking crazy. Again, we have already lost billion dollars in the first fucking 4 months of the fiscal core year already. We're already down 700 billion. We've already overspent $700 billion, and everybody's cheering about, oh my God, the economy's great. No, it's not. We're again overspending what we don't have. We're again giving contracts to companies that are criminals and paying and bribing our officials. We've never had a more corrupt president in our entire life. I have never seen somebody blatantly do crime in my entire life and not give a fuck. Crypto scam. Remember his Melania crypto scam? Melania coin, his coin, Barron coin, Donald Trump Jr. coin, scam off one. The ETFs he's opening. Donald Trump just announced he's opening up 2 crypto ETFs. That should be illegal as fuck. He should be impeached right there and be imprisoned. His fucking Donald Trump gold cards, his fucking... We have a president that took a $400 million bribe from Qatar. And nobody cared. Then that same president went over to Venezuela, stole their oil, sells it, and puts $500 million into that fucking oil fund that is in Qatar. We have a president that took money sold for the United States and put it in a Qatar bank account that the United States does not have access to. Think of how fucked up that is. I mean, for real. Sorry. I mean, think of how insane that is. He goes, declares war on Venezuela, blows up fucking... Some people says that there's fentanyl on there when there's zero fentanyl proven by everything to go through Venezuela. Then when people tell him there's no fentanyl in there, after he calls the fentanyl weapons of mass destruction, which we heard from George Bush, oh crazy, Iraq all over again. So weapons of mass destruction, fentanyl. Then they say there's zero fentanyl that goes out of there. So then what's he do? Well, those guys weren't running fentanyl, they were running coke, and that coke pays for the fentanyl. Oh. Oh, so there's coke on there now. It was fentanyl last time. Like I said, whatever lie they need to support all the criminals who will bribe them. Donald Trump knows he's dying. Donald Trump knows he's not going to be around much longer. So what's he doing? He's making sure when he goes, his fucking corrupt family's rich. But when he goes, his entire family needs to go in prison. Every fucking one of them. Fraud, aiding and abetting, treason, everything. Josh, none of us are leaving, man. No one wants to leave this shit because when you leave, you're officially saying, I am a fucking slave to these guys and I accept that. They won and there's nothing I can do against them. And that's what they want you to feel. There's nothing you can do against them. We have 340 million people afraid to take on or take down 1,000. People always talk about back in that big trend. 100 people or one gorilla. Well, let me ask you this. 340 million people or 1,000 billionaires that look like Bill Gates and fucking Elon Musk? Who's going to win? Because for some reason, the 340 million people think the 1,000's going to kick the shit out of them. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like I said, dude, people in history books are going to look back on the United States with fucking disgust. And they're not going to ask, how the fuck did these guys do this? They're going to look at it and say, how did the American people allow this? How did they allow democracy to die right in front of their eyes? And not only did they allow it to die in front of their eyes, they cheered on the people who did it because they wore a shirt color that was red or blue. Unreal, bro. But if you talk about this, you're un-American. No, if you talk about this, you are American because you're trying to actually save the fucking country from the corruption that is now in control of it. Like I said, we have a virus. These billionaires, people know, I told you guys fucking day one, dude. A billionaire is a virus he's not an accomplishment. It's not something to be proud of. It's not something to look over and be like, oh, that's a fucking virus. That's a person because there's only so much money in the world and he's hoarding it all. For what? Did he earn it? No, because again, as you're finding out, most of it was from government grants and doing illegal activities. But you want me to say he has a company. Of course he has a company. He stole hundreds of millions of dollars. If I go to a bank tomorrow and I steal $100 million, I promise you I'll have a company tomorrow. Don't know what it'll be, but I promise you I'll have a fucking company tomorrow. Because I'll make sure it never stops. Why? That's all he did. That's all he did. He did illegal shit and got companies. They got grants because they knew people. Not because of what they provided, because they knew people. And then that person could go ahead and give me a backdoor bribe. They don't provide jobs. They destroy every other company in the city that they bring their fucking companies to. And then they provide the jobs that they destroyed at worse wages. Yay. How long do you think they could stretch this out? Like I said, man, I don't know. I just don't know at this point. I'm going to keep... All I'm doing, to be honest with you, I'm buying silver. I'm buying fucking gold. I'm going to start making some plays again on my option plays. And I'm going to make... Like I said, I don't... My bank account has just enough in it to pay bills. Like I tell all you guys. Just enough to pay bills. I have an insane amount of silver and gold in my safe. Fuck this place when it goes down. I won't give a shit when it collapses. I'll be fine. My family will be beyond fine. It's going to be the people, and that's why I say gold right now is priced out. It's for the elites. You won't get gold anymore. You won't get gold. It's too high up. It's too priced out. That's for the elites. So what's going to happen is when the new dollar and they crash everything, what's going to end up happening is people that have gold, when they get the new currency, are going to get more of the new currency. People that have silver will become your new upper and lower class, and people that were stuck on the dollar are going to be your new poor and lower class, and they will be completely fucked over. And like always, they will go ahead and take the media and spin it against poor people. Oh, it's these fucking poor people. It's these fucking immigrants. It's all these fucking illegals that cause the problems. When it's literally, nope. If you literally took every fucking politician out, started fixing all these laws, all these corrupt politicians out, you wouldn't even notice that there's illegals or any of this shit, because it wouldn't matter. Prices would be fucking beyond down. If all this corruption of corporate corruption, all this corporate corruption in the United States was gone, again, you wouldn't even give a shit about illegals. Your life wouldn't notice it. You would be able to afford everything. There wouldn't be all this shit. Again, it shows... The numbers showed it. He deported $1 million, or 1 million people. And from that 1 million people, he said he gained 97,000 jobs. Okay. You deported 1 million people and got 97,000 jobs? They're not the problem. They're not the reason there's jobs aren't available. The reason jobs aren't available is because they're firing everything to make corporate profits go to 43%. Jobs aren't available because I just showed you. 40% of job postings are fake, so they can get your resume, get your information, and then sell it to people that they think you're qualified for. That's literally what they do. They get as many resumes as they can. They have an AI bot that categorizes them in what fields you work in, and then they or have worked in, and then they'll sell those to other people. Hey, you want these good? This guy's actually a good quality worker. I got 20 workers over here if you want to buy them from me. That's exactly what they're doing right now. Watch. What? Here you go. Watch. Why isn't this there? What percent of job postings are ghost postings? Approximately 25 to 30% of jobs online are posted as ghost jobs, listed for positions that do not exist or that employers that have no intention to fill it, according to studies. Some reports indicate that up to 40% of companies have active fake jobs. And then, if you ask why they do this, it's so they can grow investors, grow all this shit, get information, blah, 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 and sell it. Like I said, it's a fucking scam. Everything is a scam to profit off you being alive. Humans are the only things that need to pay to live. We're the only species in the world that need to pay to live. Pay what? Pay who? Why? Oh, I have to pay a rich guy to live. Why? Why do I have to pay that rich guy? Well, because he's a piece of shit criminal that just stole from all these fucking people and thinks he's God. Like I said, they don't even refer to you guys as people. They refer to you as healthy-bodied and able-bodied. That's the category you are. You're either healthy and able-bodied, or they put you in the category of pure shit waste of life and resources because you can't work. That's what you are to these guys. That's what you are to our politicians and everybody that we elect. You either work or you can't, and that's it. And then they listen to your problems to make sure they have enough money that doesn't happen to them. Fuck them. You're red or blue. Take the fucking shirt off. Like I said, we need to fucking take this country back, man. That's like all that there is left at this point. Peaceful way? Everyone just does bank runs. We let the system collapse on itself, and you inform everybody else. Shit's beyond fucked up, dude. Like, it is beyond screwed up at this point, and it's literally unsavable. Either eventually it's going to break and they have to Moass, or eventually the country's going to break. That's where we're heading. It's like, how do you spend $700 billion more than you have? Like, what are we doing, man? This is crazy. This is crazy. Like I said, everybody in history is going to look back on this time and say, how the fuck did anybody allow this? How did 340 million people let 1,000 people enslave them, and they did it willingly and happily? And they did it with a fucking smile as they cheered on a red or blue t-shirt. Craziest fucking shit I have ever seen what happened to this fucking country I grew up in, bro. Craziest shit. And like I said, man, you guys don't know it, but it all started with the revolution. It started with you, and it started with everybody buying and holding because you fucked them up in the financial world, and now they're trying to fuck everyone else up in the real world. Like I said, it is us versus them. It is the rich 1,000 versus the 340 million, as they call us, healthy-bodied workers. If all of us could live by the rules those fucking pieces of shit and criminals all live by, guess what? We'd all be rich as fuck. They don't do anything special. They're just allowed to do things you're not allowed to do, or you go to prison. So I tell everybody, like, stop fucking idolizing these pieces of shit. They're not somebody to idol. They're somebody to fucking hate. Again, Logan Paul is the most perfect fucking example in the entire world. This dude is the fucking beloved as shit. And all he's done is, he's famous for being a scam artist, and no one cares. People just look at him like, yeah, what a great person. He's so cool. Oh, he can flip in WWE. Who gives a shit? He fucking is a piece of shit, dude. This dude, like I said, the biggest perfect example. 6.4 million followers, everybody loves him. Anybody that says, hey, I had stake in your Pokemon card, am I going to get paid? He blocks them on Twitter. Stole another $2.3 million from his following. People, how many times do these fuckers have to scam you, bro? How many times does Trump need to scam you? All these guys need to run these crypto scams before you go, maybe I shouldn't buy a fucking thing from these pieces of shit. So he scams again on his fucking... He scammed on his first NFT. He scammed on his CryptoZoo thing. He scammed on his first company. He scammed on his next company when he bought the thing that grades Pokemon cards, and he graded his own thing from an 8 to a 10, which was a scam again. This guy got rich off scamming, and then when he got rich off scamming and stealing from people, he made himself famous. Said, fucking, why do people idolize these pieces of shit? It blows my fucking mind. This dude's a fucking loser, bro. Like, how are we not... How the fuck are we not in the streets right now over these Epstein files? I mean, every goddamn one of these things. Like, dude, like, if you think it's not a big deal, read this fucking... I'm just gonna put up one fucking email. You put up this one fucking email here, and you read it. I'm not even gonna read it. You read this part right here, and it's all highlighted, and you read that after you read birthday gift of 12-year-old. Now, this is a blanked out fucking page. This is fucking real. You can look up that number on the bottom and you read right here what it says. Most fucked up shit I've ever fucking read in my life. And they just, there's no... Cash Patel needs to be fucking executed legally tomorrow. The fact that he says that there's literally photographic evidence describing crimes, and I don't want to get in. I'm going to go fucking ballistic because I literally don't want to say what I want to say. It needs to happen to these fucking people, but Jesus fucking Christ, dude. We need to wake the fuck up, dude. Like, everyone needs to wake up. This shit should not... This is crazy what we're allowing, dude. Like, unreal, man. People, it's not even that they're unorganized, dude. They don't know. There's so much of the population is not on Twitter, not on these things. They're just clueless walking around. And then whatever the media says, they just go with. They just believe. It's like that kid who shot the fucking CEO guy. Can't remember his name. Who's the dude that shot that guy? I can't remember his name. It was like Gianni's or something. It's something weird. Chat, what's that dude's name who shot that CEO guy? It's like Gianni's or something. Here, let me just find. Oh, Luigi Manigang, whatever his name is. That Luigi guy. Okay, so you go to his story, right? He comes out. Hold on. L-U, man. Okay, so Luigi here. Guys, look over here. I don't know if you guys have been following this story or read about it at all, but it's actually a very interesting story. What ended up happening, I'm not even going to talk about the shooting or all that, whatever, but I don't care about all that. So what ends up happening is he's at that McDonald's or whatever, that fast food restaurant, and the police come, and they're like, hey, we need to search your bag, we need to do this, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So what ends up happening is they don't find a gun in his backpack. Okay? This is factual information, 1,000%, and it's why the charges got dropped. Now, what happens is these police go, they find nothing in his backpack, then they take his backpack. Now listen to this because this is very important. This is why they had to drop the charges. They take his backpack to the police station. Once they get to the police station, magically there's a gun in the backpack. They suddenly, later on, find a gun in the backpack, according to the cops. Oh, there it was. It was right in the middle of the open, and I didn't see it while I rummaged through his fucking backpack the first time. But what you also don't notice is they shut off what? They shut off the cameras. So while he looks through his backpack the first time, they shut off the cameras so you can't watch him looking through the backpack. But they wrote about it in the report, and wrote in the report there was nothing in there. So they admitted that they didn't find a gun until they went to the police report. So suddenly, everyone goes, oh, obviously you fucking planted this shit on this kid. You don't just look through an entire backpack and then dump it out, and there's nothing in there. And then you get to a police station and dump it out, and suddenly, now there's a fucking gun right on top. Yeah, I know. For sure. For sure. Like, he wasn't set up or anything. So, they said that there's all these... So, if you guys read this, they dropped the charges of, like, murder, firearm, all this stuff. Because they go, well, you guys... Your stories, the police story's too inconsistent. We can't prosecute this fucking guy. You said you guys literally openly admit that you looked into his backpack and nothing was there. And then you shut the body cam off. Why did you turn the body cam off the whole way? And then you turn it back on after you open the backpack and then say, look, there's a gun on the top. Yeah, okay, that wasn't a setup or fucking anything. So now all these charges are getting dropped. I mean, he still faces some stuff, but it's like, again, we have people making shit up, and these people, have no clue about any of this. They're just watching these people. Reason I'm bringing this up is these people that aren't on Twitter and on all this shit, that don't listen to my stream. How many of you knew this before? How many of you actually knew what happened before this? Not many people. They all just go around listening to whatever the media says. So what they know about this Luigi guy is he killed a CEO and that's it, because that's what they said. They don't know that. None of them walking around know that the first time they checked his backpack there was no gun. None of them know that these charges are getting dropped slowly, one at a time, because half the fucking things the cop said were lies. Most of them don't realize when the cops saw Luigi, guess what they did? Shut the body cam off. Why'd you shut the body cam off? They only saw the media show the 5 seconds of the body cam where they walk up to Luigi and say, hey, blah, 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 and start talking to him. But they don't show it. The reason they cut the clip a minute in is because a minute after them talking to him, they pop their body cams off and then search his backpack. Why would you search his backpack? Why'd you shut it off before you searched his backpack? Because there's no gun there, and you know there's no gun there. But when you get to the police station, you're going to make sure there's one. Like I said, man, it's shit. 90% of the things that the government tells you, even if they're true, they're half-truths. It's like, hey, this number is this. Yeah, but you don't tell us why this number is this. It's because suddenly you changed this. You changed the way you do data. You have blah, blah, blah. You're suddenly removing fields. It's like, dude, look at my account. I mean, for Christ's sake, look at my account, dude. Look at this. This is just today on just crimes. Here you go with this. Listen to this.
Epstein files. Subject line, prepare for pandemics. Written on March 19th, 2015. In that email it says, let's discuss next steps. For example, how to involve the World Health Organization. I hope we can pull this off. Then in 2019 came Event 201, a simulation of a global pandemic to see how each organization should react. Like how to counter the anti-vaxxers and the spread of misinformation.
They're literally in the Epstein files, like I told you guys, talking about this. They're literally in the Epstein files talking about the pandemic before it happened. They're literally in there talking about how before this happens during the pandemic, how are we going to stop people from misspreading information on the internet? And remember when the pandemic happened? What did they talk about? Nothing but how, hey, he's misspreading stuff on the internet. We're going to go after people misspreading information about the disease. Oh. But in 2000, before all this happened, they're talking about everything that happened play by perfectly. And then he says, let's involve the WHO. I hope we can pull this off.
For pandemics.
I hope we can pull this pandemic off. Nope, nothing to see here. It's literally in the files. They're literally right there talking about the fucking COVID before it happens. And then what's really funny is if you look at COVID, like I told you, look at this. Fuck is that? Look at this. Why did this like minimum? Look at this. Look what happened in COVID. Look what happened in COVID. Tell me what COVID was. COVID was a way to get the rich as fuck, make company profits fucking. So look at COVID. Look at this. Look. You see the chart? Second COVID happened, there was this small dip in corporate profits because we all were fucked and everyone was scared to spend a penny. But suddenly, right after that, not even a month after COVID hit, look what happened. Corporate profits shot up 30%. 35%. 30%, sorry. Went up 30% right after COVID. Huh. And then they said it was the biggest transfer of wealth in history. COVID. Huh. COVID was a designed thing in a fucking lab by these rich pieces of shit that have too much money and too much time on their fucking hands and are fucked up in the head. I said, when I saw all these emails about like I said, go to the Epstein files, type in pandemic, and just read all the things of how much they talk about the fucking pandemic and shit. How are you talking about this perfectly word for word on exactly how every event unfolded 2 years before it unfolded? The timeline is just too perfect. So now you have a rich fucking evil piece of shit talking about how he wants to set off a pandemic You're telling me a rich person who has too much money can't pay a lab somewhere to make a fucking virus? I bet you he could. And now you're talking about Jeffrey Epstein, the guy who had fucking access to all this shit. Like I said, they just needed him to get it started. They didn't need him to follow it all the way fucking through. Said, why are they talking about pandemics and shit and getting the WHO and how they're going to control people and how they're going to do this and all these things that would happen by us? Well, are they going to listen? I hope we could pull it off. It's a lot of people to fucking screw over him. Like I said, dude, the government is the biggest terrorist organization in the fucking world. It's true. It's reality. It is what it is. They're all fucking just destroying the fucking world so 50 fucking people can be rich that are already richer than God. Like if you're Elon Musk, why do you need more money? You don't. What the fuck are you going to do with the money you have? He could buy the world over and he'd still have money. It's just like fucking what are we doing, dude? He's going to have more money in like 10 years in fucking countries. Just sitting in an account somewhere doing nothing for no one. It's just fucking crazy, dude. Yeah, the Charlie Kirk gun. Yeah, they post that picture of the Charlie Kirk gun, and then you find out later that that picture of the Charlie Kirk gun was a picture off Google. They literally took a image off of Google and said it was the Charlie Kirk gun, and then when they got caught a month later that hey, you actually didn't use the real gun, you showed us a picture on Google. What did Kash Patel say? Oh yeah, by the way, we found the gun but it wasn't in the woods. It was in a chicken coop. Oh, so now the story changes. Not only is it a different gun, you found it in a different spot. Oh, huh. Funny how that works. But yet you told us all this for fucking 2 months. And the only reason why you said, anyways, why you even brought up the fact that it was a different gun and found in a different location was because they called you out on it. You didn't say, hey, we got this information. You were forced to say it. As he's taking the FBI fucking private jet to go see his what he calls country sensation who gets 2 people per concert because she's a fucking retard and a trash singer and a fucking Israel honeypot for him to do his fucking job, dude. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna go into a Erica Charlie bash. I'm not gonna just bash up on the dead. Like I never had an opinion on Charlie when he was alive. I didn't even care about him at all. I mean, I didn't watch any of his shit. He was relevant to me, so I'm not gonna bash on him now. But shit's just, it's like it's all equally tied. I showed you all the fucking corruption in that. How he suddenly had for the first time an Israel bodyguard. You could do all your theories on that guy alone. I have plenty of theories on that man. But like I said, dude, it's like the world we live in is just a giant Hollywood stage to keep people clueless that the government is stealing from you and keep you complicit as long as they can. That's literally what America has become. How much can we steal from these people before they revolt? How much more can we do? We'll let out more information, and eventually we'll just be able to do this all out in the open and become a communist country. We'll be able to kill people that are poor, just like all these communists we say we hate. We'll just send ICE at them, who's literally been killing and fucking up citizens. Like I said, that's the thing people don't understand. Like, dude, I live in Minnesota. I'm literally here talking to the fucking people every day. Everybody thought with ICE, oh my God, they're trying to stick up for the illegals. Not a single Minnesotan wants the Somalian illegals here. Not a single fucking one of us. We're all sick of them. We are all sick of them. We have been talking about them for 5 fucking years. This has been going on for years. None of us, not a single fucking one of us is saying, keep the illegals here. All we said is, hey assholes. Hey, ICE piece of fucking trash. When you go arrest a fucking guy and he shows you he's an American citizen, you don't have to fuck him up and beat his ass because he's brown. You don't have to shoot reporters across the street in the face with fucking pepper balls. We're citizens. Fuck off. That's all we said from the beginning. We were protesting them attacking citizens. That's it. And they spin it to, oh, these fucking guys, they want to keep in all the Somalians. No, trust me, not a single fucking Minnesota wants these Somalians here. Not a single fucking one of us. None of us. They don't fucking contribute or help in any fucking way. And they take all the fucking nice houses. They're raising the prices because they're buying up these fucking inventories. And they're not working. I told you guys, I know one. And he's getting tons of government grants. He's legal, but he's still getting all this shit that I told you guys he shouldn't be fucking getting. But it's all legal, so what am I going to do? Said it's a fucking gong show, bro. Like, they'll give out handouts to anyone but citizens. If you're an Israeli, oh god, if you're an Israeli person, they'll fucking they'll give you blowjobs and fucking handouts, dude. Whatever you need, bro. They care about Israel more than fucking America. These guys, did you see that governor with that flood? That flood in his state, and like all these people were getting fucked up and dying, and the first thing he comes on and says is, yeah, but what about Israel? They're killing children and people over there in Gaza. What the fuck? Then go over and worry about that. Go be the fucking if you guys give this much fucking care about Israel, go live there. Crazy thought. Get the fuck out of my country. You definitely don't need to be a politician and fucking loving Israel as much as you do. Fucking crazy. Yes, but Israel. Here's what you say to every fucking politician that says anything about Israel and people dying. There's citizens dying here, and what are you doing for them? Oh, nothing, but you're just sending billions to fucking Israel's. Dude, Alex, me and my wife have been talking about that. There's so many other countries, and I'm like, you know what? I could take all this gold and silver and do a lot of exchange rates and stuff, and I could go be richer than fuck in other countries. And it's getting to that point where me and my wife are truly thinking about me leaving this fucking shit, dude. Dave Lauer already left. Once you take the pill, like, you realize you're not leaving the country, you're leaving the corruption. Like, it's not that I don't love America. I don't love what it's become. How could you? How could you be proud of what we are now? We literally are like, our world corruption rank plummeted. The whole world knows we're corrupt. The whole world knows we're corrupt. The quality of life in America compared to these other countries has plummeted. It's like, it's like, what the fuck is going on here? Exactly what this guy says right here. Nobody's trying to fix the problems we have in the world. Everyone is trying to make enough money so the problems don't apply to them. Exactly. These guys don't care. They just care about not having to deal with what you deal with. Here's another thing, guys. Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Trust just happened to win $80 million lottery in New Mexico. Huh, so the lotteries are rigged for these rich fuckers to keep winning them. Listen to this, watch this shit if you haven't
I can go slow ahead. Come on down and chum some of this shit.
The Dow is over 50,000 right now.
Good old Pan Bondi, dude. Fucking corrupt bitch. Crazy, man. And now this is the point we're at. They're all pointing fingers at each other, calling criminals bigger criminals than they are. We're at the finger pointing phase, guys. But perfect example. Listen to this shit.
The ground. I have said to people when they ask me if this capital crumbled to the ground, the one thing that would remain is our commitment to our aid. And I don't even call it aid, our cooperation with Israel. That's fundamental to.
Now, I want you to listen to what she says one more time in this little spot, because this is how I sat there and I go, did this bitch just say that our politicians are blackmailed? Listen to what she says right here.
Is our commitment to our aid. And I don't even call it aid, our cooperation.
I don't call it aid. I don't call the money we send over there aid. I call it cooperation. Why are you cooperating with them by sending them money? Is it because they blackmailed you by Jeffrey Epstein and now they own all of our pedophile politicians? She literally admitted, I don't call it aid. It's cooperation. It's cooperating with them. because they own our ass. Well, thank you, Nancy, you fucking criminal piece of shit, for admitting that Israel owns the United States. I appreciate you saying it out loud. I mean, like I said, guys, you can just look down my fucking Twitter and it's just nonstop. So, I don't know if you guys seen this or heard about this man, but this guy actually was Jeffrey Epstein's butler. And he actually comes into the FBI and he tells them Epstein's raping children. He says he has his black and everything that has all this, and then he ends up dead right after. Well, first they arrest him. They arrest him for trying to sell stolen stuff. Instead of going after the pedophile, they arrest him. Talks about the clients, the underage girls, the rich, powerful billionaires that come and visit him. This is all in the FBI documents. This is all legitimate. And then he went ahead and got arrested and died. Crazy. Just like Epstein. Anyways, like I said, anybody that was telling on the fucking network here ended up killing themselves. Anybody that told anything about this stuff going on, Kurt Cobain talking about Vashon Island. You don't talk about Vashon Island. You still don't know about Vashon Island, man. This Vashon Island, my friends. A lot of interesting things going on Vashon. They don't want to talk about that, though. Like I said, they're out there. There's more than this one. Here you go.
She was kind of a foul-mouthed person, you know, and she hated the whole Hollywood scene, and she expressed her hatred for them publicly, and so, and she also, when she was like, I think she was 15, she entered this essay contest when she was living here in Seattle, entitled "God is Dead," and a lot of people accused her of being a communist. And then she went to New York and was a part of this acting troupe. And so it supposedly had communist ties too, and so then there's this big conspiracy amongst a judge, a very well-known, prominent judge here in Seattle, and a bunch of other people who had ties with Hollywood, and they basically just set her up and ruined her life. You know, they had some pictures taken of her when she was arrested for drunk driving, and it was a big, huge scandal, and she eventually was sent to a mental institution and given a lobotomy and raped every day for years, and just totally abused, and ended up like working at a Four Seasons restaurant alone, and dying by herself.
It was up Bainbridge Island. That's where she was institutionalized, right over there. It was this whole broken down like infirmary there.
For years, every night there were lines of custodians, friends, and people, you know, part of the staff who would wait in line to rape her every day. You know, she went through a lot of shit.
And this was that video I was talking about. And shortly after, guess what? Suicide. Like I said, you don't talk about it, you get suicided. Every one of these suicides are unbelievable. They're nothing that would happen. It's like Obama's fucking guy who died, his cook. Let's be real. The dude found out something he shouldn't do. He didn't fucking drown. The dude was a swimmer, and he drowned it in 3 feet of water. He could have fucking stood up, and guess what? He just had to stand up, and suddenly he's not drowning anymore. See what I'm saying? It's not the United States we grew up reading about anymore. It's in 2008 that United States died. In 2008, like I showed you, every single thing changed. The financial crisis. They used the financial crisis and that to do that, bring up, you know, this thing with the presidency and these things with Hillary Clinton, which led to the lawsuit, which led to Citizens United removing dark money, which meant that dark money now is unlimited instead of capped, which led to all of these fucking things, leading to all of these elections with billions and billions and billions in donations, to the point where we're at now. Look at this. Listen to me. In 2024, dark money surged to $2 billion to influence basically the record of fucking the United States. Now listen to this. This is important after everything else I've been telling you. Nearly $2 billion to influence the outcome, blah, blah, blah. This surge driven by who? Citizens United. Fueled over $1.35 billion in online ads and supported both major parties with significant funding into super PACs. You notice how every time it allows them to spend money they're not allowed to do, Citizens United is involved? No. Like I told you guys, the biggest cancer to the middle and lower class, the biggest cancer to the democracy is Citizens United. It is nothing but billionaires paying fucking lawyers to rewrite laws so they can break the law and make more money. That's all it is. They call it Citizens United, so it sounds like a nice, cushy, nice, loving fucking people when Citizens United is nothing else but taking your rights away and giving it to billionaires. That's all they are. I said it's just fucking crazy, man. It's fucking crazy, man. Does anyone have any questions? Because I feel like I've been ranting for a while here. But this corruption, it's like, god damn. Like, dude, the more we go on and on and on, the more we get proven right, the more we realize it's worse than we thought, the more we realize how fucked up the economy and country truly is, and then eventually you realize no one's coming to save us. Because the people that are supposed to save us are too busy taking bribes from the ones committing the crimes. Crazy. Fucking crazy, dude. Absolutely fucking crazy, dude. Yeah, so next video, like I said, I'm just going to go live for like an hour or two. We're going to go over options, everything I can think of or I know in my brain about options. I'll go over strategies. We'll go over all sorts of fun stuff. Then hopefully people that want to get introduced. Give me a second here. Sorry, I talked a lot for not having a drink for 3 hours here. So, yeah, but we'll go over strategies. You know, anything else you guys can think of on options, just go ahead and ask why we're live there. So, thank you guys for listening. I don't really see any more questions, so